Там, где всегда мороз, трутся спиной медведи, а земную ось мимо плывут столетия, спят подо льдом моря, трутся обоз медведи, вертится земля. Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла, вертится быстрее земля. Крутят они, стараясь, вертят земную ось, чтобы влюбленным раньше встретиться пришлось, чтобы однажды утром, раньше на год или два, кто-то сказал кому-то главные слова. Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла, вслед за весенним ливнем раньше придет рассвет, и для двоих счастливых много-много лет будут сверкать зорницы, будут ручьи звенеть, будет туман клубиться, белый как медведь. Где-то на белом свете, там, где всегда мороз, трутся спиной медведи, а земную ось мимо плывут столетия, спят подо льдом моря, трутся обоз медведи, вертится земля. Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла, вертится быстрее земля.
Hello. Well, yeah, I have to start these streams with different music, and yeah, the first one was the Pocket Watch. No, it wasn't a remix from A Few Dollars More. It's a great movie, one of my favourites actually, and I just love Ennio Morricone's music. But hey, and I really love that piece of music. The second one is actually from a Soviet movie, from a Mosfilm movie from the 1960s called Kidnapping Caucasian Style. And it's actually called A Song About the Bears, funnily enough. And the lyrics are something like, somewhere there's a bear rubbing against a tree, making the world go round. It's quite a snazzy song. But hey, what can I say? That's just the way it is. I mean, I was going to play other things as well, but for another time, because it's trying to catch Yusuf out. That's the thing. So anyway, yeah, afternoon, everybody, or morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Yeah, it is another coffee chat, and we've got quite a lot that we could discuss. Bad teams are still there because they've removed the MM limits to an extent, apart from the first 100 games, which is still against bots. We've got Mad Games, which is overloading the servers, but they're good fun, as everybody should know. What else have we got? Well, we've got new tanks. We've got the Emil 19, whatever it bloody well is. What is it? 1951, isn't it, or something? Oh, no, I've got it now. Where is it? I don't know where it is. There you go, the Emil 1951. That's it. That's what it is. We've also got... We've also got, these containers. And I'm going to open some. As you can see, I've got 118,000 gold. So I think we can open 10,000 containers to see what they're all about. But before that, I have to go through everybody. So who we got? We got Yusuf, of course. PT Blitz, how you doing? Agile Hippo, how's it going, my friend? How's everything over in Finland? It's bloody cold, no doubt. I'm surprised you're here and not in a sauna. Dave DeRave, how are you? Spicy, hello, moderator and a YT member. That's very nice. And my latest video, I've actually started naming the YT members. I hope they don't mind, along with the patrons. Again, I hope they don't mind. They deserve some recognition. And it's just, I always find it rubbish that I just turn around and say big thank you to these guys when I should actually name them, I guess. But I never asked them if they minded. Who else have we got? Vexy, hello. Stock T49 is Spain. Oh, but the S is silent. Yeah, the T49 stock can be a bit of a pain. But, to be fair, the stock gun sometimes can be better. Dave Raid, yeah, he was strangling a cat. The guy you heard, actually, is a famous comedian on the Soviet times. Hey, Peaks, how you doing? Less pay to win? Yeah, well, I don't think the game's pay to win anyway. I think it's pay to progress. Shell Magnet, how's it going? Have you had your results back yet, my friend? If so, I know I shouldn't say it'd be nice to know because these things are private, but I hope. Peaks, I'm not going to convert gold for free XP. That's just daft. I mean, look how much XP I've got already. So anyway, in the store, because that's what we normally start with, we've got these things, surprise containers, and I'll buy one and we'll have a look at them in a moment. We also have the T34 going for 5,500. And the thing about that is you get the garage slot, the equipment slots, and the T34 is actually a really nice tank, okay? It is a nice tank. Hey, Kathmandu. For that, you get the, as I said, you get the garage slot, the tank, the equipment, the legendary camo, the Eagle attachment, 500,000 credits, 30 days of premium account, which alone is worth like 3,000 gold. And of course, the thing that you're paying your money for, the avatar. But that's not a bad offer, to be fair. You've got all this stuff as well to help you progress through the game. As I keep saying, it's paid to progress. Fire and Ice is still there with the Blaze and the Glacial. Blaze is still there, and if Layla's around, she will tell you how great that tank is because she loves it. We've then got Surprise Alliance. You've got the Panzer 58 Mutz, which is a really, really nice tank. I do like it. A lot of people don't, but I like it. It's basically like the Indian Panzer. And the Indian Panzer is a nice tank as well, but again, a lot of people don't seem to like that. Then we have the 59 Patton. Again, another tank that a lot of people underestimate, mainly because it's got that big, massive spot on the top of its head. But it is actually not a bad tank. And you can get them for 10,500 combined or 6,000 each. So, you know, don't buy those shit boxes. Well, I'm going to, so you guys don't need to. So you can see what they're all about. And you'll see it on stream. So it's going to be in real time. So, you know, I'm going to just buy 10 because I can afford 10,000. So let's buy them and then we'll go to the other part of the store. In the bundles, we have obviously the containers for the Emil 1951. I haven't played the Emil 1951 and I didn't buy it in containers. Basically, Wargaming owed me something for something that I did last year with the streaming. So it was actually, they actually said that when we did the Blitz Cup, one of the rewards that we would get would be a tier 10 tank. And I've got the tier 10, so I said, well, you know, it's no good giving me a tier 10. And I waited out and I said, is there any chance I can have the Emil 1951? Actually, I asked for the IS-6 Fearless and they said no. So I got the Emil 51 instead. I haven't played it yet, so I can't say if the containers are worth it or not. We then got the oxidized Panzer B2. Now, the B2 is a strange tank. I mean, firstly, it's a tier 4, and secondly, it's the only tank that still has preferential MN. Really, it's bizarre. And then we've got all the other stuff in there as well. So let's go and see what we got with all this money that we've just spent. So I can get all of this, which are containers, if you notice. Container, container, container. They're all containers, okay? And you get a charm. So I've just spent 10,000. If I get enough charms, I get 1,000 back. Woohoo! The silver, how you doing? So let's open these pile of poop and see what we get. I got a T54 container. Lovely. I got an SU. See, this is the thing. They're just containers, okay? So you're just getting you just buy a load of containers to get containers. So I'm going to open them all because all you see is me just getting containers. See, containers. They're just containers. So I'm getting Chimera. I've got 2 STGs, 2 SU-130s. Oh, got a chieftain, lovely. I got the STG and 1,000 gold because I got the charms. So I got 1,000 gold back, and I get a T95E6 container. So all of that was absolutely bloody useless apart from this, and I've got 1 gold charm, but I'm not going to buy another 10 because why would I? That's just daft. So here we go. I can get stuff in this. Chance of getting a tank is slim, and I get normal shit, XP, premium time, and combat booster. So really worth it. Chimera. Am I going to get a tank? No, but I got 500 gold, I got XP, and I got a credit booster. So at the moment, it's not worth it. Here we got the SU 1:30 PM. Am I going to get a tank? No, we've got 750 gold, XP, and a booster. Open another one, and 500 gold, XP, and a booster. Shark. No tank, just XP, premium, and boosters. Drak. 500 gold, XP, and a booster. Here we have the STG container, which I've got 3 of. I get XP, booster, and premium. Then I get XP, booster, and premium. Then I get XP, booster, and premium. Oh, I've still got a Dracula charm. I don't want a Dracula charm. So now I've got 2 of these Mark 6 containers. No tank. 100,000 credits and 600 gold and some boosters. Last one. I got some gold and some boosters and certificate. So what you can see there is I've just spent 10,000 gold and got what, 4,000 back roughly. That ain't worth it. I didn't get a tank. I got a load of boosters. I didn't break even on my gold. And I did. And now this is the thing, yeah. You're spending money on containers to win containers, and you may be lucky. You may be lucky. You may get a tank drop, but that's not good, guys. So yeah, I mean, word to the wise: don't do this. I got 1,000 gold back for the charms, and then I got 3,000. So I got 4,000 gold back, but I spent 10, so I'm actually out of pocket. I got 100,000 credits, yeah, great, and I got a shed load of boosters. That ain't worth it, guys. It really isn't. Don't chase these tanks, okay? Don't chase these tanks via containers. Not like this. I mean, the tanks will come up. They will come up, but don't be tempted with these type of containers, where you're spending gold for containers to get, well, containers. I mean, just silly, to be honest with you. So seriously, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. So don't do it. It's just bad, really bad. It's not good. It's not a good idea. It's a shitty idea. Really, really bad idea. So I mean, look. It's great that you're getting charms, okay? And if you're missing out on a couple of tanks, like this one here, look, this is the M4190. I'm missing 5 charms. But it's not worth me spending all that money for those to try and get those charms when I've already got the bloody tank. So just hold fire, yeah? I mean, I've just spent 10,000 gold. For 10,000 gold, I can get the T34, and I can get the Blaze. So I'm getting 2 tanks guaranteed for 10,000 gold with all the equipment unlocked, etc, etc. It's as simple as that. Or I could get 2 tier 8s. It's as simple as that. So if you're chasing after these tanks, don't do it. It's just not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. Anyway, let's have a look at some replays whilst I'm chatting away here. Where are we? There we go. So, a couple of other things. A lot of people have been talking recently, and you know, I've seen a lot of things about it. You know, I myself have mentioned it because I'm a complete prat at the best of times about the MM, okay, and how bad the teams are, and you know, you get matched up with people who are clueless. Well, a couple of things on that. Now, I was going to do a video on this, and I've got it ready, and it's been unlisted for 2 weeks, but I haven't put it up because I've been umming and ahhing. And I thought, well, what's the point? I may do the video, but I want to address it in a live stream first when there are people around. Assuming there are people around, that is. And there are only 11, so there's not that many people around. But I thought I'd address it in a live stream. Now, a couple of things have happened. Okay. We have to all the way go back to 5.5. So when they did 5.5, they did a couple of things. They introduced a new, well, it wasn't a new MM, they just introduced changes to the current MM as we then knew it when they trimmed down the tech tree. And one of the things they brought in what was basically a new player MM. And for your first 100 battles, you would be teamed against bots. And what would happen was you'd roll out, and you would play, the opposition would be fully bot, and then over time more humans would be introduced and less bots. So when you get to the 100th battle, there should be almost all humans and no bots. And this was to break you in gently, because you know what, bots aren't exactly the best or most intelligent of opposition out there. So they introduced that. They also, and this was never official, or I've never seen anything official, they also introduced another MM parameter, which was anybody below 5,000 battles were put into a different MM to those with over 5,000 battles. Kind of ring fencing newer players. So you know, I don't know if that was official or not. A few people have said it is official, but I've never actually heard anything official. But it, you know, when I go back to that time and look at it, it was very rare to come across players with with less than 5,000 battles in some of the games that I was playing. They then introduced I don't know what you can call it. I mean, I know what I'd like to call it. I'd like to call it retard MM, but I'm not allowed to. You know, forget I just said that. They introduced a special MM for those special players who were particularly very bad. And apparently you were going to be put into like, I don't know, a special queue of equally bad players. I don't think that ever worked. I don't think that was ever going to work. I mean, how do you assess somebody as being particularly trash? Unless, of course, they are themselves a bot and all they do is camp at the back or go AFK. It's pretty difficult to say to somebody, you are a really bad player, therefore we're going to put you in the special queue. So that sort of got dropped. And then the other thing we had was every time you bought a tank, you were given preferential MM. And it was also the same when you grinded to the next line, you had preferential MM. Now, completely under the wire, that's all changed. So this so-called 5,000 battle count MM no longer exists. It's gone. The preferential MM, with the exception of one or two tanks like the Panzer P2, that's gone as well. And the special MM sort of really didn't work. So that sort of had to go. Now, this has had a knock-on effect because you're now getting a lot of players in the upper tiers who have got, you know, not many battles. And it's easy for everybody to sort of point fingers and say, you know, blah, 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 whatever. But let's cut to the facts of the matter here. Now, on my Asian account, for example, now I'll give you the example on my Asian account. I don't think I've got even close to 1,000 battles, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'm not sure. I'm going to open up BlitzStars to check it out, so I'll give you the right information. So on my Asian account, once it gets up and running, I've done 877 battles. So I've done less than 1,000, okay? And I've actually got, in tier 10, the Badger, the Mouse, the AMX-30B, the 121B, the E100, the T22, the IS-4, and the WZ-111. Now, the Badger The WZ, the AMX, the 121, and the T22 are all premium tanks. Wow, they're collectors, apart from the 121B, which is a premium. If I had the XP, I could get either the T62A or the 140. But I haven't got the XP, so I can't get those. And I've got the IS4. So I've got an E100, a mouse, an IS4, and potentially the T62A or Object 140. That's 4 Tech Tree tanks. 4. And I've only done 877 battles. Now, okay, I've been using the boosters, etc., to rush through the tiers. And this is what my argument's been, because a lot of people have been saying it's pay to win. It's not pay to win. Okay, it's pay to progress. And therein lies the problem. So I don't think that should be there. You know, I shouldn't be able to grind that quickly. I remember going back in the day when I first jumped onto this game. It took me a lot more than 877 battles to get one tier 10, let alone 4 or 5. And that's not even counting the tier 10s that you can now buy. Okay? I mean, back in the day, you couldn't buy a tier 10. In fact, I think the first tier 10 that came out was the Mark 6 for purchase. And, you know, every man and his dog wanted that tank. But the fact of the matter is, you couldn't, in those days, rush your way through to tier 10 like you can now. And I think that's a problem for the game as a whole. Now, I don't begrudge any player who throws money at the game or invests a lot of time in the game, rushing their way through tier 10. It's up to you how you play the game. I can't tell you if it's a good or a bad thing. But what I can say is overall,
you're doing the same.
Exactly, but exactly. So I can't say that. But what I can say is it's not particularly good for the game. Okay, it's not, because you are going to flood. You're not learning the tanks anymore like you used to. So the grind prior to 5.5, to be fair, was a pain in the backside. It really was a pain. And to an extent now, it's a bit of a pain. And back in those days, you had no choice but to grind. You could throw money at it to get the XP and the credits, but you can't throw things like gold at it to skip the entire line. Which is what you can now do, by the way. I mean, I can't show you on my EU account because obviously I've basically grinded all the tanks. But when you're on an account whereby you're still not grinding you're still grinding the tech tree. This is how I got the E100, by the way, just to prove a point. So I got the Tiger 2, and then for I think it was 8,000 gold, I could basically move in to the E75 without even playing the E75, without grinding it, and I could upgrade it immediately. I didn't have to go out stock or anything. And then, just to satisfy my own conscience, I then thought, can I do this with an E100? So I didn't touch the E75, and guess what? I got the E100 because I had enough credits. I could upgrade for gold the E75, and boom, I had the E100. That's just daft. How can it be that I can get the E100 without ever playing the E75? It's just stupid, in my opinion. And that's where I think wargaming have gone wrong. Get rid of this instant upgrade. Force the players to play the tank. Force them. Make them play it. Nobody likes playing stock. Nobody likes grinding. But if you don't get them to play and get them to instant upgrade, like they are, then they're never going to learn the game. And it's going to eventually, over time, defeat the object of tier 10. Because the object of tier 10 is meant to be the pinnacle of the game, yeah? You've ground your way there with your skill and your dedication, And you have a sense of achievement when you get that tier 10 tank into your garage. Do you have the same sense of achievement now? Well, I don't think you do. I think that sense of achievement's gone. Because now you can basically progress your way there through paying. Now, that's not pay to win, okay? It's not pay to win. Because in this game, you still need skill to win, to an extent. I mean, you can obviously sit there and get carried by your teammates. But, you know, if you're going to play the game properly, and you need skill. Throwing money at the game is not going to give you the ability to win more games. But it does give you the ability to get rushing through those tiers. And I don't think that's a good thing. And I'm going to have some tea. So that's why we're getting these teams at the moment. And I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. And I think what they need to do, they need to work a way where the teams are going to be balanced. And I don't know how you can do that. Because I, for one, do not want skill-based MM in random battles. That's why we have ratings. Ratings is meant to be for skill-based MM. If you start looking at skill-based MM in random battles, then it's going to be a disaster. Trust me, it'll be a disaster. But there has got to be a way where you can balance the teams out. And I don't know how you do that without putting a strain on the wait times or the MM overall. So, I don't know. I mean, has anybody got any ideas on that? I know there's only Spicy and Jory in Discord, and they're not talking. But there's 20 odd people in YouTube.
I can talk.
Oh, there you go. Jory can talk. Yay! It's always a good thing when somebody can talk. So what are your take on it, Jory? I mean, you're a pro player. You play tier 10 majority of the time. In fact, all the time, mainly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with your that I don't want not the skill based matchmaking. That will only be for ratings. That's good. Not for randoms. It's I agree on that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a disaster for randoms.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah.
But if they start to try and balance the teams against, you know, battle experience, it would just be a nightmare for randoms. It would put so much strain on it. The queue waiting times would go up, and it would be a nightmare, I think. But they've got to do something somewhere to address this, surely.
They tried. Sorry, I just joined. Hello.
That's okay.
They tried to do a matchmaking based on the win rate for the math games, I believe, for this one, and it came out that it's basically making everyone have close to 50%.
Which it will do eventually.
Win rate.
It will do eventually.
Yeah. So the problem is, the good players, the 70% player won't be attracted to playing the randoms, if I would assume correctly. Since if that's the case, then what's the point of playing randoms?
Well, exactly. I mean, randoms is just for that. It's random, and you're meant to get a mixed bag. Simple.
Yeah. But is it still random if the matchmaking actively wants makes you lose the game though? Because if someone, for example, have 70% win rate, the matchmaking will balance it with other player maybe having 60%, and you have one more 50% players in your team.
I don't think the MM does that. I don't think it even considers that, and I think that's a good thing. Despite the fact I've moaned about that in the past on unbalanced teams, I've sat back and thought about it long and hard, and actually I don't necessarily disagree that that's a bad thing, because if you start introducing an algorithm into the MM that sticks that actually starts going through win rates and allocates them 70% player on one team balanced out by 60% players on the other team, you're getting back to skill-based MM, which I don't think is good. Now, the way I've understood it is that MM merely looks at the tank and the class.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes,
It
exactly.
doesn't even go down to how many clippers you've got, which I'll get to in a moment, because Martin Dogger, that's one of his, and Every Good Name Is Taken, actually, have both brought that particular subject up, whereby they've been in a team where they've had no clippers, and the enemy team have had two AMX-50Bs, a Kranwagen, a Progetto, blah, blah, blah. And the AMX-50B and the Cranny are heavy tanks, but the Progetto's not. It's a medium. And the Batchat,
Yeah.
which again is a light. So they've had all these clippers, and not a single clipper on their team, which they said it is, that's not balanced. So the MM doesn't even go down to look at that. They look at type of tank, class of tank. So they look at tier and class. And they try to allocate so you don't get 7 Sheridans against 7 Batchats, for example. So they mix it up around like this. Now, that means they don't take into account your battle count, they don't take into account your experience, they don't take into account your win rate, which necessarily isn't a bad thing. Although we do complain about it. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a hypocrite here. When I'm streaming, you'll hear me say this guy is not experienced enough to have this tank. And I will say that because I'm a human being, and like all human beings, we say one thing and mean something else. But when I look back on the cold light of day, and I think it is bad for the game to progress so quickly, and I do, is the MM itself so bad? Now, I don't think the MM is bad. I think the ability to progress so quickly isn't a great thing. It's not good for both veterans and new players alike. And you put yourself in the position of a new player. You've got your 877 battles. You've got your new E100 that you've bought, and you roll out, and the guys you're rolling out are from it's Jory and you Matthew and Agile Hippo and all these good players on the other team. You're going to be smacked to oblivion. And that can't be fun. From whichever way you look at it. It cannot be fun. So, if it is fun, how is it fun? I wouldn't like that. Every time I rolled out my E100, I'm getting smacked around by all the super duper unicums out there. I'd hate every minute of that. And no doubt, new players don't like it. Just the same way as veteran players don't.
I think they don't have to fix the matchmaking. They have to help the new players.
I agree. I think that's right.
Make it more fun in lower tiers to play it, and make it maybe a little bit harder to progress up to the higher tiers. But make it more fun at lower tiers, so they will.
Now that is a beautiful idea, and I love that idea. Make it more fun in the lower tiers, and I think I think that's the nail on the head. How do they make it more fun in lower tiers? Well, I don't know, but I think you're onto something there. Make the lower tiers, or the mid tiers at least, more attractive. And more
make
interesting.
mad games for lower tiers, below tier 5 or something like. Maybe you have to do some, balance it maybe. I don't know how you will do it, but make a fun mode for the lower tiers, below tier 5.
Well, I think that would help. I think that would help, and I think it would also help if we if everybody stopped going on about dirt guns and how how great tier 10 is. I mean, tier 10 is great. It's the pinnacle of the game. It's meant to be great, but if you disregard the middle and the lower tier tanks, both on YouTube with the YouTubers, etc., then you do so. Then what you're doing, you're convincing people that they don't want to be in those tiers. That's what you're convincing people. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree. And I've seen. Right, I'm going to mention somebody now, but I have nothing against the guy, by the way. And it's World of Tanks happy. I have nothing against him. He's not picked on me yet. My time will come, but he hasn't as of yet. But I don't care what YouTubers do, other YouTubers. It's none of my concern how people run their channel. As long as they run it in a way that isn't overtly nasty or mean, etc., etc., I really don't give a damn, you know, because YouTube is a strange beast, okay? It's all about how you look at it. Some people do it for revenue, some people do it as a job. So, for example, the likes of Meadsy, he does it for a job, which is why he has to churn out so much content, which is why he's constantly doing it, because it's his living, despite the fact he works in a warehouse. This is also his living. Whereas the likes of myself and, say, Rolling Swarm, we do it as a hobby. Yeah, we do it because we love the game. We like doing the commentary on the tournaments, being involved in the pro side of the game and promoting that, just playing the game. So we don't do it for a living. I don't do it for the money, etc., etc. I do it because it's a hobby. But and then you get other YouTubers, and you know, Pantherflea, whatever you may think of him, he's an entertainer. Okay, he knows which buttons to press to entertain, regardless if you like the guy or not. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I'm telling you, he's an entertainer, and he knows people. He knows how to entertain. And then you get others jumping on the Pantherflea bandwagon, so to speak. And presently, World of Tanks Blitz Happy is one of those. He's a bit of both. He's a bit of Pantherflea and a bit of other person. But majority of his videos are about win rates. Okay? It's about win rate, and it's about damage, and it's about tier 10. And so that message that's being sent out by Happy is, if you're not in tier 10 and you're not doing 3k damage and you haven't got a 65% plus win rate, then you're a noob. And that's wrong. That's not the message that should be sent out. It's not the message. Because I'll tell you this for a fact. If this game was just filled with 65% win rate players, all doing an average damage of 3k, you'd hate it. You'd hate the game. You need the bad players as well as the mediocre players as well as the good players to make it the game. Okay?
Yeah.
Because
how do you want everyone to do 3k damage in a tier 10 match?
absolutely.
Like, you only have the best players in a match. You won't do 3k damage.
Absolutely. So you need the bad players as much as we need the super duper unicorn players in the game. We need both. We need all these type of players. Without the bad players, the super duper unicorns wouldn't look so super duper unicorn. And without the super duper unicorns, the bad players wouldn't look so bad. That's it.
Well, yeah, because what you need to know is WN8 is based on relative average.
Yeah.
Your average performance compared to the average player performance. So
exactly.
if the tank's doing well, and if you're doing well but not as big of a gap as, let's say, a harder tank to play, you have less WN8 than that tank.
I agree. I agree. And one of the things about you have to consider about YouTube is that we don't always put our best games on. When you're reviewing if you're reviewing a tank, you'll do, I don't know, you may roll out in it 20 times, and out of that 20 times, you'll lose 18, but you'll get 2 good videos that you can then put on as content. And, that's, seriously, that's the way it works, guys. So you're only ever seeing the best of the best of the best. Now, compare that to, say, I don't know, Juicy Tender Steak, who doesn't really do videos, he does streaming. That's his content. And he's a really good player. Okay, he's also a pro. Juicy. He's been in Legion, etc., etc. And watch his streams. No, he's not winning all of the time. He's not. He plays the tank spectacularly because he's a good player. And as much as I'd love to emulate his play style, I am limited by my own skills. So his skill set is different to mine. But I enjoy watching his streams, because you're seeing everything. You're not seeing just the good games. You're not seeing just the big damage. You're seeing everything. You're seeing the shit games, the mediocre games. You're seeing the whole shebang. And you will then start to see that even the pros don't have good games. It's just the way it goes. But what sets them apart is their skill level. That's the difference. You know, we're not always going to have the same skills. Simple as. And YouTube sometimes is sending the message that we all should have these skills. We all should be 65+%. We all should be 3,000 average damage. And that's not right. It cannot be right. And when you start sending that message out, then it's going to go the opposite way, if you know what I mean. It's going to send a message to the players who are at 40-odd%, just delete the game. When they shouldn't. Why should they delete the game? They shouldn't delete the game. We need them as much as we need the others. So, whilst I'm saying it's not good to have these inexperienced players in the top tiers, because it's not, without them, then we'd have a problem with the game itself. One thing I will say, however, to me, and a lot of people have said to me, I only say this because my win rate is so bad. I don't care about my win rate, guys. I seriously don't. Win rate is not the thing that drives me. And the reason it doesn't drive me is because I'm 48 years of age, and the chances of me rolling out in the Twister Cup on any clan is like unbelievably remote. Okay? Now, I'm in a pro clan, which I'm really happy about. But I play their quick tours, and that's about it. I'm a token member. But I love that, because it means I can get involved in the pro scene and try and help a clan, which I love. I think it's brilliant. But the chance, but I'm under no illusion. I'm not going to play for that team in anything serious. I'm not going to be entering, the Blitz Cup or the Twister Cup, or even playing in the Ascents. Okay, I'm not going to do that, because my skill is not that good. I can play quick tours and I can have fun with them. So why would win rate mean anything to me? Because win rate and damage at this level, you need to get into a pro team to play the pro tours. So win rate to me is nothing, to be honest with you. It doesn't concern me. I do not lose sleep over the fact I don't have a 60% win rate or whatever. I don't lose sleep over it. And all I do is try to play the game to the best of my ability and have fun. And I'm more infatuated with, as Matthew mentioned earlier, what we call win 8 on Blitz Stars. Because that tells me, am I improving? Win rate doesn't tell me if I'm improving. It tells me that I'm getting better teams and we're doing okay. My damage tells me I'm improving, but I've got shit damage anyway at just 1,200 and whatever it is. But my win 8 is going up. So I am improving and I am getting better, personally. So why would I care about win rate? It doesn't bother me in the slightest. Meadsy. Apparently Meads is a noob. Or isn't it? No, he's not. He's just past a noob. He's 6 out of 10. Sorry.
Well, yes,
sorry.
if
I just could not resist it. As I said, I commented on that video, and I also said it into my Discord. I can't wait for it to come round to my turn. I don't think it'll ever be my turn, because I am quite literally, and I'm very proud of this, I am quite literally probably the biggest noob out of all the white ears. Out of all the YouTubers, I'm probably the biggest noob. And I'm really chuffed about that. That's something I'm proud of, man.
I think Jack is the biggest noob.
So
Jack and Jinx.
But I'm quite chuffed about that fact that I'm probably, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest noob. and do I lose sleep over it? Do I bugger? Why? Because I enjoy the game, man, and that's the thing. And I've said it many, many times. There are different parts to this game that can keep you interested in different ways. If you want to be a pro with your massive, brilliant win rate and damage, we've got the tournament scene, which is fantastic for you guys. If you're not interested in the tournament scene and you just want to show off your win rate and your ability, then we've got the ratings side, which is great for that. But if you just want to roll out and improve, and you're not utterly serious, then we got random battles where you can do that. And then if you don't want to be serious at all and you just want to, kick back and have a lot of shits and giggles, then we've got mad games, uprising, gravity, and all that sort of crap. So we've got different things for different people. And as Meejis just said there, we've also got your own individual challenges. How many, can you get out all the aces on all the tanks, or can you get this medal or that medal or whatever? And I think that's great. And I think this game has a lot to offer. It's not just about win rate. It's just not about win rate. Seriously. And sometimes I think that point is missed. And this is what leads people to want to rush those tiers sometimes, because they're infatuated with win rate and damage count, rather than just sitting back and enjoying the bloody game. Anyway, what do you guys think? Because we've got people on Discord,
Yeah.
and I'm just on a monologue.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot of ways you can play the game, like especially on PC because of the new equipment system. Like see the streamer, for example, Honest Gaming. Like he does a lot of like only fun things, like crazy ideas that might not work, but he made it work.
Yeah.
Like those sort of thing. Well, I don't think it can be emulated as well in Blitz because the map. Firstly, we don't have the tanks, the diversity of the tanks that PC has, and also the map also is not that big, and yeah. But we can still make, like, I don't know, maybe some fun modes like human and zombies, and also in training rooms you can maybe use Sheridan, like the ATGMs.
Absolutely.
Like the game is diverse enough for you to have different different objectives with one another.
I think so. Oh, hello, Ting. Before I move on, though, yeah, I know, Dave DeRave. It's been a rough 48 years, eh? I mean, God, you can just see it, yeah? It's just been so bad. Oh, Tingus. Tingus, who actually started calling me Fugit Get Good, which is my Asian account name, funnily enough. I mean, I think it's a good thing being, like I said, I'm actually proud to be sort of a noob at the end of the day. I mean, because it doesn't bother me in that respect. It's like, majority of the player base, sod off, Meadsy, only 48. Yeah, only. The thing is, I mean, Meadsy, you laugh. I mean, the thing is, I'm older than Bushka. Can you believe that? Yeah, you can actually.
Wait,
Shit.
really?
Yeah, I am the oldest CC on the English-speaking side. Yeah, I'm older than Bushka and older than Irma Bex, which Irma Bex actually sort of dug it in to me one day.
I thought Bushka was the oldest.
No, Bushka is born after me, which is like really depressing.
He joined the army. Bushka joined the army.
Say again.
Bushka joined the army.
Bushka, I was in the army long time back. I was in the army when Centurion was a rank, not a tank. But yeah, I'm actually older than Bushka. So, wowzers. Yeah, I thank Irma Bex for pointing that out to me. The thing is, Dave DeRave, my actual name is also Darren, which is why I have to call Meadsy. This is why I call Meadsy, unlike everybody else. Because when I call him Darren, I think I'm talking to myself, and it actually gets confusing because then when people are talking on his streams and say hi Darren, I'm like, are they talking to him or talking to me? So that's why I never use my real name, because everybody calls Meadsy by his real name, and it would just get confusing if everybody started using my real name at the same time. So I don't. That's why I don't do it. That's just everything's Fugit.
Wait, Fugit, so when I was still NNN and there's another Darren, did you get confused when I say, Darren, go do this?
Yeah, it confuses me. But now I don't. Now because I know because everybody basically calls me Fugit rather than Darren, I don't get confused anymore. So when something's happening and someone's in, for example, it's on Meads' stream and I say hello and then somebody comes up and says, "Hi, Darren," I know they're not talking to me, they're talking to Meadsy. So it's much easier. It's much easier.
Yeah, because when you join one of our tournaments, there's also a Baron von Fisten, but we call him Darren.
Yeah. I know Baron as well. Yeah. It can get confusing. It can. It's like Vale recently said, Eric's coming along with and said, put your real name after your in-game name. And so I was like, okay. But, it's going to don't start calling me it because then I'll get confused again. I mean, I'm easily confused, yeah? I mean, you can put me in a round room and tell me to sit in the corner and I get confused. So it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. So, it's fun like that. But yeah. Thanks, Irma Bex, for pointing out that I am the oldest of the CCs. It's unbelievable. Oh.
What about Skate?
I'm older than Skate as well. Bushka was the oldest until I came along. Well, I'll tell you what, that it's like, I think it was Tony said we're going to bring in some young blood into the CC program, and they brought in me and Every. I think Every's the youngest and I'm the oldest. It's just hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I think Every is the youngest. He's the youngest, and I am the oldest. So yeah, I'm a lot older than Skate.
I think Avery was is like 1 year younger than me.
I can't remember how old he is actually, Peter.
He's 18, I think now.
Yeah, I think he's 18 now. Yeah.
Wait, isn't he 19?
I thought he was 18.
I thought
he's only just
18.
He's only just finished school, I believe. So, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure is the honest answer. But yeah, I know he's the youngest of the CCs. I know that. Because it was funny. It was like I got the message from Darth Antonia saying, would you like to join the CC program? We're looking for some young blood. It's like, you're looking in the wrong place. Because I'm not. I have got more hair than Bushka, Dave DeRove. That is true. Even if I stand upside down, I have more hair than Bushka, to be fair. But I'll never beat Rolling Swarm on the beard quest, to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, he's... Rolling's got it down to a T there. Won't beat that. So, I mean, that's MM. What else? Mad Games. Everybody loving Mad Games. A lot of people have been waiting for it.
Hey. It's about Gravity and the Uprising.
Yeah, but we haven't got... I like all of them, to be honest. I'm not... Mad Games isn't my favourite one. I like Uprising, to be honest. I do like Uprising.
Uprising and Gravity.
I do like Gravity as well, only because I'm a YOLO monster and just ram everything and then get abused by everybody calling me a nab. But, I've never understood that. I've never understood toxicity in the fun game modes. That I've never understood. And I never will. I can never understand how people can get toxic in in like Gravity and Uprising in Mad Games. I mean, what's the point?
In Amorax. They get toxic in Amorax.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I don't understand it, but then again, it's like I've never had the patience to actually write some of the War and Peace comments that players write when they're mad. I've seen some really, really, really creatively long comments, and I just haven't got. How do they have the time to write all that? I don't get it. You know, there's the comment
Waste
like
of time.
absolutely. I mean, there's one there's comments like noobs. I understand it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to write. Can do that in a second. But when they write things like blah 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 blah, you're all idiots. You should all get cancer and die. Your mother's an idiot, and all this. I mean, it takes ages to write that. Seriously, it takes ages. I mean, if they would have given that much devotion to playing the game, we may not have lost. That's the thing.
Yeah, like I don't get one of those. If you rage, like how how do you have the willpower to type it into the chat and then just
Exactly.
talks and stuff?
Exactly. I just don't get that. I just don't understand how they've got the time to do it. I mean,
Like I do rage, right? Like on voice and or even to myself, like I rage, but I usually
Not in
don't
chat.
type in the usually not in chat. Like
oh no
fuck
no.
that, like, I don't have the time.
Well, I mean, you've
That's-
seen
it's
my
such a
streams.
waste, like,
You've seen my streams. I rage in stream, but I don't type it in the chat. I'm raging in stream because I'm a normal person, and normal people rage at things. You know, Christ, I rage at the mirror every morning. I'm saying, who's this ugly git looking at me? But and that's just normal. You know, we all rage.
Better clean your mirror. But next time, clean your mirror.
If I clean the mirror, it'd be worse, mate. At least when it's dirty, when full of sand, it looks like there's a blurry person in front of me. But I mean, everybody rages, but there's raging, and then there's because I'm streaming, so I'm basically raging at myself about other players. But you get to see that on the stream. And everybody rages when they're on their own. But I don't rage to the point where I have to say, no, I've got to type what I'm raging. Why would you do that? That's
Yeah, like that's what I don't get as well.
yeah, that's in my opinion just retarded.
it's the typing, the rage that makes me laugh. I mean, I remember once. Where was it? What was I watching? I can't remember what I was watching now. It was either Every or Amunet's stream or Wild One's House. I can't remember. I think it was Wild One's House. They were doing something, and there was a replay being played. And one guy in a 183, the rage coming from him was unbelievable. I mean, seriously, unbelievable. And it was every single worst insult you could think of ever. This guy was writing it in the chat. He was just writing it in the chat. And I started thinking, dude, you're not even dead yet. You're in a 183. I know you've got a long reload, but you're not dead yet. You can do something about this. And it's just crazy. Look at the background. Oh, look! It looks like I'm merging into the purple. That's bizarre, man. Wow. Oh, that's my kid. Yeah, yeah. He pops up every now and then. We tried to sell him for some goats, but nobody would buy him. To be honest. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, Spicy lives in this part of the world, and I couldn't. Unfortunately, he's not beautiful enough to be traded in for a camel. And we do have camel beauty contests, funnily enough, over here. Bet you didn't know that, did you? It's true. It's true. Yeah, I do have a visitor. He's not meant to be here, though, but what to do? It is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, everybody rages, but not to the point where you do that. But anyway, back to Mad Games. So, I mean, does everybody like Mad Games? I mean, we saw one of Yusuf's...
I do.
One of Yusuf's replays earlier in the E75 on Mad Games.
Mad Games is fun.
I like it.
They are easier to herd, Kathmandu. Yeah, Mad Games are fun.
Miss, I think.
I mean,
It's easy to
here and
win,
there is
simple.
miss.
I mean, a lot of people do say that they don't like these fun modes, but I don't understand why. I mean, there's no pressure like there is in random battles or ratings battles. There's no pressure at all. You either go out, have some fun if you win, it's a positive benefit. If you lose, who gives a shit? You had fun anyway. What's the matter?
I like the realistic battle more actually because you don't have those weird power-ups. Like for me, that's the break, like the make or break things format games, and also the uprising. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. One good thing I like about Mad Games and Uprising, and I know you mentioned the power ups and the different and the stupid attachments that you can get. It's always good to take a light tank and to get to somewhere that you cannot get to on a map normally. I think that's fantastic. I love that. It makes you feel like you're messy in a grill for a minute. For one game, you're messy in the grill because boosts nowadays are pretty difficult.
You can still do the messy boost.
Oh, it's very difficult, that one.
Yeah, you just
They
need
put
like
invisible
3
walls
mouse.
and climb spots.
Because they put it,
Yeah, but you
they
can
put
still
a
do it.
blank wall there, haven't they? Like they put something there to stop it, and you can
Yeah,
do
but
it,
you
but it's not
You
easy.
can still do it.
Yeah, but it's not easy.
You need like 3 to 4
So
mouses.
basically, it limits the ability of that skill.
Yeah. I don't understand why they did that. Well, I do understand why they did it, but I don't think they should have done it. I mean, it doesn't matter if there are these boost areas because, if teams are creative enough to find them and teams are good enough to utilize them and exploit them, what's the problem?
Probably unfair for the other team, other spawn.
Me
Yeah,
having
but not all
but
spots are advantageous though.
absolutely, and not only that, is it fair on the other team that all my crew skills are maxed out and theirs aren't? Probably not. Is it fair?
Nah,
I mean, is it fair on the other team that I probably know the maps better than they do? No. I mean,
Nope.
it's a game, and like all games, if there are areas that you can exploit without breaking the rules, why should you exploit them?
Yeah. Like, for example, the boost. Like, there is still quite a lot of boost area actually.
I never
On
minded the
Castilla,
boost.
if you spawn in the north spawn,
Yeah, I never minded the boost
left
points.
corner there's a boost.
But here's
In Middleburg.
But here's a question for all of you. Had Messi have not boosted there in the grill, would it have been an issue? Would Wargaming have gone around and stopped all the boosts? There you go. Think about that.
I don't know.
I don't think they would have. Because I don't think it would have been made aware to anybody that it was being utilised so much. But because it was in the Twister and it was such a game changer in that particular game, makes people think, makes you scratch your head. Think about it. It's like a lot of things. I mean, if they went round and then there was the one boost on Rockfield over the is it the A cap above the A cap? You could
They
boost
also
up
blocked
there.
that.
They blocked that now, yeah, but you could get up there. That was quite funky. And then there was the one on, is it the one on mines? You could boost all the way up to the top. when you spawned on the on the one side, you could boost
On the south.
Yeah, south spawn, isn't it? Yeah, you can boost all the way up to the top. I don't think you can do it anymore.
No, they closed it off, that one actually.
Yeah.
But the one on Rockfield is still available. The one on Middleburg is still. Is it Middleburg?
There was one on Middleburg. You could get up there with the Leo 1, which was
You can
overlooking
get up with
overlooking the sea cap.
STA one. Actually.
Yeah, so overlooking the sea cap on the one spawn, there was where the ruin is. You could boost up there in a Leo 1 without any help. And boy, it was a good position. It was a good position. But I don't think you can do it anymore.
You can still do it in the STA one.
Oh, can you?
With the help of one other, heavy or medium, like your choice.
I
of
sent you a
tanks, basic.
replay about the WT.
About
You can
WT?
check. Yes,
Where? Email or?
in the server.
Regular.
Where?
Single WT.
Yeah.
Behind
Where?
And what channel? Like
What
above
channel?
Jory.
Above Jory?
The replays.
Huh?
The replays.
Oh, no, I've got that. Yeah, I've got that.
my God.
W-
Gundam, why are
I've got
you
it.
so? Oh God.
Hey,
So
It's a good
yeah,
one.
I mean, you know, it's okay. I mean, I don't know why they closed it, but they closed it. But I never saw any problem in it. Interestingly enough,
Meh.
I bet Jory doesn't remember me.
Joey remembers everybody. Don't worry
What are
about
we
that.
talking about?
He just feigns ignorance.
Remember when you played in Asia? We played tier 8.
I need to get back onto the Asia server, but it's
Yeah,
been
I
difficult.
remember your voice.
Who am I then?
You're you. You keep changing your bloody name. It's difficult to keep up.
I still know he's Gundam.
It's fun. So people will forget you, and then a new name arises. They will remember you in that name. They'll be
The
like,
new name is rising.
that old guy is gone. Where is he? Oh, he quit the game.
I'm still here. How many old guys are there? Hey.
But he's playing with the new name.
So moving on. Unless you've, I take it you've all seen the announcements on the Coming Soon channel on World of Tanks Blitz official Discord, or not?
No.
Nope.
I'm not in the
I
server.
don't know.
Okay, so a couple of new tanks that are under development is the Tier 10, Tier
Oh, the
10,
260?
the 260, which is really weird because the Object 260 is actually an IS-7 in real life. It's-
Yep.
Project.
The prototype of the
They
IS-7.
just changed the name and
No, all Russian tanks start out as Object something. All Russian tanks, until they enter, the testing phase, and then if they get past the first testing phase, they then call them whatever they want to call them, T-34, IS-7, whatever. But all tanks start out as an object, yeah, just like.
Oh, the IS-6 is Object 252, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
So-
it's another project.
So what
The
the
IS-6 was a failure. They wanted to redesign the project.
Yeah, the IS-6 was a disaster, and so was the IS-5. Both of them was disasters. And the IS-6 and IS-5 ended up being scrapped for the IS-7. And the IS-7 is basically a continuation of the IS-5 IS-6 program. So what do you get with the Object 260? And if you look at it closely, you're basically getting a sort of beefed up IS-5 hull, which is what it is, because the IS-6 doesn't have the pike nose, with an IS-6 turret, because that is what the original IS-7 looked like, funnily enough.
Had three variants to be produced: two self-propelled guns and a tank destroyer.
So what you have with an Object 260, if it's like real life, you're getting an upgraded IS-5 hull, which is good, you'll bounce a lot, with an IS-6 turret, which is shit.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, look forward to that one. I'm pretty sure they're not going to do that. I mean, the only reason the IS-7 turret, by the way, is so big is because they had to incorporate the loading assistant mechanism. That's the reason it's so big. Because the ammunition came in two parts, not as a shell, which is interesting. So we've got that under development at the moment. Now, I believe, and you guys who play the game would know this, the Object 260 is in World of Tanks PC, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Reward tank.
it's a Clan Wars reward tank.
Oh, it's a Clan Wars reward tank. So obviously they've probably modified it slightly from the PC version, but yeah, I did believe it was in the PC part of the game.
Yeah,
So
I do have it actually.
Okay, so it's under development for World of Tanks Blitz. The other thing is the Canon Jagdpanzer 105, which
An RU-251 hull. An RU-251 hull. Tank destroyer. Existed and maybe in server.
yeah, I mean basically it's a tier 8 TD. It's a premium. It's going to the 260 is going to be a collector, and the Canon Jägerpanzer is going to be a premium tank. and it looks like, I don't know, it looks like a Hetzer had.
E25, but with
It's like
better
an
speed.
E25 but with a bigger.
Well, I'm about to say
gun,
it looks like a Hetzer and an E25 had a sort of threesome with I don't know. I don't know what's that gun look like. I think that gun looks
It's
more like a
literally
Defender.
the L7 Royal
And
Ordnance.
105
The
millimeter
same with
gun.
the Leo.
Yeah, but it looks like the
literally
Super
the
Conqueror.
Leo's
It looks like the Super Conqueror's gun with that thing, but
No,
it's not. I
it's a
know.
105.
I know it is. I know, but yeah, I mean, it'd be an interesting tank. It probably plays similar to a mixture between a Jag Panther 4 and E25 by looks on it.
But
Like
something
fun fact
one
actually, on PC Wargaming first introduced the 90mm of the tank, but
Okay.
once they found out that it's actual shit, like they offer the people who bought the 90mm to replace the tank with the 105 version.
Ah.
true.
So those are two tanks that are currently going to be under development. On top
And
of
also
that,
Object 907 Fugit, don't forget.
well, I haven't seen that one yet.
It's a project.
Well, I haven't seen that one yet.
Airborne tank.
I haven't seen that on the. Oh no, it is on the announcement. Premium Soviet medium, the Object 907.
Yeah.
It's going to be tested. So it's on the test, or it's going to be tested, and it looks like it's again it looks like it's a mixture between an IS-6 and an IS-4 with a T-62 stroke Object 140 turret smacked on the top. I don't know much about that tank.
It's closer to an Object 140, but it has like half, like
Yeah.
kind of a T-22 style sight, but not.
Yeah, it looks that way. It looks that way, but without the pike nose. Because I can't tell from the picture if it's got a pike nose or not, but maybe.
On PC, it plays really, really similar to the pre-buffed Object 140, like with
okay.
turret roof and also the same gun. The sight is a bit troll,
Right.
not as troll as the T-22, but
with
still a bit
HCR
troll.
too.
And the front is as strong as the 140. So yeah, expect it to be similar to that, I would
An
say.
E25 on steroids.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Galactic Tech. Yusuf's right. I did sort of point out a lot of mistakes. And I know where he got the information from. I'm not going to say here where he got the information from. But the information, he took it from a source that also got the information completely wrong. But hey. Anyway, we've also got the Czech line coming out.
Line. A good line,
Yep.
except for the tier 10.
Well, let's start off. We've got the Tier 6 Skoda T25, which is actually a T25, because the T25 is the
An
Skoda
autoloader, which is
T25.
good.
Because most of the German tanks, funnily enough, are based on Skoda tanks. Think Hetzer. Hetzer's a Skoda, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's not, in real life, it was never called the Hetzer. It was actually called the Jagdpanzer 38T. The soldiers unofficially called it Hetzer. It was the E10 that was going to be called the Hetzer in real life. But the Skoda T25 is actually the T25, because the T25 is made by Skoda.
Also, I'm kind of disappointed.
With what?
I kind of expected the Czech line to be 4-shell autoloaders, but nope.
No, well,
Tier 8 one.
yeah.
Tier
I mean,
8 one.
let's
And
get
that's
to that in a moment. So we have the Tier 6, which is basically the T25, but called Skoda
Tier 8
T25.
Alpha gun.
We then have the Constructa T34-100, which is basically a T34
Never made,
With a
but
100mm
they
gun.
would have had on
with a bigger
other
gun.
T34.
We then have the TVP VTU Concept,
32 guns.
which I don't know much about that tank actually, so I'm looking forward to looking into that one a bit
I
more.
heard that it's kind of like CDC.
Okay. Then we've got the Skoda T50, which looks to me a little bit like like a bulldog type Indian Panzer type Mutz, maybe. I don't know.
Skoda
It,
T50 existed.
it plays like the AMX 5100 basically.
Mm.
No armor, like good mobility, kind of
Okay.
big,
Okay.
Kilometers an hour, good mobility.
And then we have
and using
the
a 3-shot autoloader.
and then we have the TVP 5051, which I did test, funnily enough. And that does have 4 shells in the magazine, but it's not an auto reloader. It is, as my memory serves me correctly. It's an auto loader,
Loader.
not an auto loading reloader or whatever they're called. So,
Yeah, not an auto reloader.
Yeah.
It's a standard auto loader.
Yeah. But don't forget,
4
guys,
shots in the clip.
if I remember rightly, all these tanks are medium tanks.
Hey,
There's none of them. They're not heavies. They're medium tanks. So it's a medium line we're getting. Probably, you know, you're not going to be getting them anytime soon. I don't think it'll be in the next update. It'll probably be a couple of updates from now. But they are coming.
Maybe the second.
Yeah.
The second after this.
Well, I can say for certainty that the Object 260 and the Canine and Jag Panzer 105 is just being worked on, so they're not going to be around for a fair few months yet.
Yeah.
The Czech MTs, I know for a fact the TVP 50 has been on the test because I tested it. So they will be coming sooner rather than later, but
7.7.
won't be the next update.
7.7.
Then we've got the 907, which is also about to be tested. So that ain't going to come for a long time yet either. But they're in the pipeline.
In 7.9. 7.9.
Well, I don't think the 907 will. It's only just about to go on to test, and testing can take some time. The Defender, however, the AMX Defender, or the Batchat Defender, or whatever it's bloody called, that is coming soon. That is coming soon. So it's going to be like all the other Defenders. It's basically going to be, the tech tree version that's all of a sudden had a nuclear capacitor shoved in it, turned it black, made it go buzzy, noisy.
Kilometers an hour.
So it sounds like an electric engine, like a milk float. It sounds like a milk float.
No, the thing sounds like a fucking vacuum.
Yeah, it sounds like a vacuum cleaner. And it will no doubt have a auto loader. 3, maybe 4 in the clip, I don't know.
They even showed the clip.
I haven't seen the clip, to be fair.
Shells,
It's 4 shells, yeah.
The trailer.
but people speculate it will have 800 clip damage.
The 25 Alpha, I think.
It probably will do if they give it a long reload.
15 seconds.
So it's not that long then.
Probably.
On BC Test 3.
But it's another addition to their Defender series. So what have we got now? We've got the
Wait, no. Oh,
A
shit.
bull.
That's
we got
wrong.
the IS-3 Defender. We've got the Mark 1 Defender. We've got the T-28 Defender. What are the Defenders? What's the other Defender?
Wi-Fi Firefly and the T-34 Wi-Fi.
No, they're not Defenders. They're Wi-Fis.
They're not really.
They're not
Okay,
Defenders.
they're Wi-Fi then.
So
They're
we've got
Wi-Fi.
IS-3 Defender, T-28 Defender, and Mark 1 Defender. Is that it? I thought there were more than that.
No, there's
three
only
only.
3.
Huh?
There was a
Each for one class.
It is for one class, yes.
discussion
So
on
there you
the
go.
light Defender tank. There was a discussion on the light Defender tank.
Mm.
So that the RU-251 or American light tank or the French.
That's going to be the Batchat or the AMX, whatever it is. It's going to be an AMX. That's going to be the
There
next
was
Defender.
MX 1390.
Yeah, the
But with
AMX
4 shots
1390.
autoloader.
Yeah. So yeah, it is the AMX 1390. That's correct with the 4-shot
On a
autoloader.
chassis of a 1375. Oh, no, the
Is it?
57.
But
Yes.
Is it?
It's kind of stupid because now it has 4 shells, but it was already an auto.
It will get 190 Alpha because of 225 it will be OP.
160.
It has less
Meads is
alpha,
saying it's going
I
to be
think it's
160 alpha.
100.
160 alpha.
No, it's a
Are
90
you sure?
millimeter
No.
gun.
Meads is saying 160 alpha, and I'm ready to believe him because he's probably played it.
It's 160 for a 90 millimeter
What?
gun.
And it's probably on Blitzhanger.
Did I
It's probably on Blitzhanger. I mean, it's probably no doubt already on Blitzhanger. Let's have a look, and we'll find out.
I saw
know-
something about 4 shells and
No,
having
he's not
200
leaking.
something.
Dark. Of course he's not.
Like,
It's
190
probably
alpha,
already.
or 200
have you,
only.
like, you are,
Why
have you-
160?
It'll be somewhere on. Where is it? I'm looking at the wrong nation. That's one.
but like the standard 1319 has 225 alpha, if I recall.
What's it called? I can't remember what
Yeah,
it's called.
225 alpha for the regular Tech 3 1390.
Yeah.
Where did I see that it has like 200 something alpha? Because I saw somewhere it has 4 shots, but it will have less alpha damage than the regular one, but like 15 less or so.
Yeah, there you go. It's 160. It is 160.
Oh,
yeah,
it
no
is?
problem, Galactic. Yeah, so there you go. It is there. It's not on Blitzhanger, by the way. It's not on Blitzhanger. Funnily enough.
I bet it will be in Blitzhanger.
No, it's not. I'm
It will
looking.
be in next update. When
Next
this
update, yeah.
7.6 comes, then it will bring 7.7 per view. Then you can find that tank.
Well, they're saying, according to Blitzhanger, and this is the 7.6 preview, the TVP 5051 is coming, apparently. Just played that one. Sorry, hang on.
It's being buffed.
I'm sorry. Just played that replay. So it's saying that the TVP T5051 is coming. In 7.6. But this is Blitzhanger, and Blitzhanger is in conjunction.
MX 1319 is getting a buff. Good buff this one.
The TOG 2! Yay! It's getting a buff.
Yeah, the armor has
Not
been
too much.
buffed really, really good actually.
Yeah. So the Nashorn is getting a buff. The Panzer 4 finally is having its buff nerfed. But the penetration is increasing, but the DPM is going to come down. The Jagdpanther is getting a buff. The AMX 1390 is getting a buff. So there you go. TOG is getting a buff. It is getting a buff. So
140 millimeter of front armor.
Panzer 4 is getting a nerf.
Yeah, it'll be
Jagdpanzer.
Getting a pen buff. Buff and
Jagdpanzer has a
DPM
pen buff, but DPM buff. Nerf, sorry.
Yeah. So quite a few things to look forward to. It's not the end of it. You know.
G39 is getting a cupola buff.
There are nice things coming out. There are nice.
TOG is getting an armor buff.
Yeah. TOG's getting a well-deserved buff.
Even with the buff towards the ARL V39, it's still a shit tank.
True. Even against tier 5, they can't pen the cupola.
Oh, I don't know.
But every
Yeah,
tier 6 can
Exabyte.
go through that like butter.
Best buff ever. TOG 2. Totally agree with you there, Yusuf.
And you can
Totally.
literally see that from the other side of the map, basically.
How's that working for you, Exabyte?
Cupola,
A
like,
fold phone.
Seriously, I think that's shit.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got some stuff coming in. We've got some stuff coming along. It'll be great. What else is there? There's got to be other things. I can't remember what it is now. I did mention other things. Oh, dearie me. What else was there? Oh, yeah. I'm completely losing the plot. So we've got a new battle pass and we've got a new event to obviously celebrate Chinese New Year. Where, new tanks and new this and new that. And the new tank is... Stop it, Georgie. No, guys, hang on a minute.
Patriotic.
So I'm just going to continue on for Fugit. So we have 2 tanks for the Lunar New Year.
Yes, T28 mod this. I don't know. It common battle pass. And the best thing is the bull. It's not an ox. It's a bull.
No, it's an
Type
ox.
58.
It's the year of an ox. Like, seriously. I'm Chinese.
Yeah,
I'm
bull and
half
ox.
Chinese,
The
but
same.
same. Like I'm a fucking half Chinese here. and I know all these kind of stuff. Yeah, it's the year of the Chinese.
Ooh,
That's why they made
back.
it. So
Sorry,
that-
brief move.
yeah,
So
I was just saying this is the year of the ox, so
that's why
they
they've got
are
it.
creating
There
a
you
type.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every good name is taken made a good point. Is it the type? What is it? Type 34? Type 54?
58, yes.
58.
Type 58, or is it the
Type.
T34? I mean, which one is it? And thankfully, I think it's the
The
type.
T3485, it has 2 cupolas. Well, the Type 58 has 1 cupola.
Ah.
It's more the statistics are more similar towards the Type 58 compared to the T50 the T34 85. The
Again, it
armor
might be
is the
good.
same, and also the gun. The gun is almost the same as the Type 58 with the penetration and the DPM, which I believe the T3485 has more penetration with 144 millimeter, if I remember correctly.
That's a little bit better pen. It has a better reload time, I think.
Let me check the T3485. Yeah, it has less DPM but more penetration compared to the Type 58. Yeah, the pen is going to be 128 for the Ox or Bull, whatever the fuck that thing is called.
That will get a good. It has the same speed, I think.
Sorry about the delay in just looking at and this, but I'm downloading more. I'm downloading more replays as we speak. So where are we going? Right, got them all back up again. There we go. Da, da, da. Yeah, so we've got that to look forward to. Plus, you'll get the T28 mod.
28 mode.
My mom. It's not
Yeah,
my
the
mom.
T28 mod 1940. I think.
Yes, the Tier 4. It was so good with the small gun. The
It's not my
higher
mom.
rate of fire.
No, it's not a good tank. At Tier 4, there's a lot. Well, pre-patch 5.5, there are a lot better tanks at Tier 4 compared to that thing.
Absolutely.
The A20, it had the 6 shells gun. 1, 2, 3, then the 1, 2, 3 gun. Like this 2.
No, there are the
four,
T48, 46, and the A20, not that tank. That tank either has a 76 millimeter or a 57 millimeter. The same with the T34.
So anyway, you get the T28 mod, 19
Yeah.
whatever it was. So that's going to be cool. It's a free tank.
Which is
basically.
basically
It's a free tank.
which is basically going to be a free garage slot and a
Yeah.
couple of 100 gold.
Despite the fact 5.5 told us it's bad to Seal Club. Despite that fact.
The fact that Wargaming leak the Battle Pass tanks. It's not good.
No. It's no. They're not leaked.
They showed the video only.
Yeah, and then they gave us the CC's preview material. Not to leak. It was to present it in a controlled fashion, rather than have it leaked all over the shop, which is what has been happening. So it was to do a controlled fashion, basically, which isn't too bad. So
at this point, the tank is there at Blitzhanger, so you can see it. It's not a leak.
Yeah, I mean it's it's nothing major. YouTube is really having a hissy fit today. I've noticed. So they're not leaks. These are actually sponsored by. It's all done in conjunction with Wargaming, because this information is in the public domain, so to speak, already. So
yeah.
So it is there, which is good. I mean, it's good that they're doing this, whereby we can issue previews of things that is more official. Okay, so it's official. So some of the leaks that you get out there are not official, and some of them are wrong. Basically, some of the information is wrong.
Yeah, and there's some data mining things.
There's some data mining stuff which is also wrong. I mean, some of the data mining on the tanks that you see that are leaked, these are data mined while the tanks are still under development, like in Super Test or in test, and they change. The parameters of the tank change, so before they get released. So We flexing, are we? Okay.
No, we like for example on PC we know for a long time there is an object 268 version 5, I believe that's what it's called. But they still haven't released it to this day. From maybe like 5 to
Yeah.
On the
or 4
52
years later.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
it always happens.
be,
It always happens.
it's in the game files and it's being tested.
being tested in the NA server.
Wait,
Real
the 50
question
TP?
is,
Oh no, the TVP T50. Well, basically, I am assuming that they're going to make some adjustment towards it, but base it on the PC version, which is basically a 3-shot autoloader on PC. With the same playstyle kind of thing towards the
the Skoda T50 is the
MX-5100.
3-shot. The PC, the Skoda T50 has a 3-shot.
Yeah, that's what I said. On PC, it has
The
3 shots.
T50 51 has 4 shells.
Yeah.
A broken tank in the
What's happening? Something's happening. Someone's doing something, and I can't see what it is, which is really annoying me. Hang on. A couple of things, guys. I've just noticed on the stream, it's a bit jerky and it's laggy. That isn't me, and that isn't OBS, by the way. That's YouTube. Just putting the picture. It's not my Wi-Fi. It's not OBS. It's purely YouTube. I don't know what is going on with YouTube recently. It's probably on an overload after everybody's being banned from doing everything. But yeah, that's why you're seeing this jerkiness on the stream. Nothing I can do about it. YouTube is YouTube, basically. Just the way it goes. So anyway, well, Twitch. I mean, Twitch obviously is a good streaming platform. The problem with Twitch is that at the end of the day, it's how can I say this? It's not exactly the thing that wargaming embrace mostly. They mostly embrace YouTube. So that's what we're doing. So that's why we're mainly on YouTube rather than Twitch. And I'm not like... I've tried to do what Wild Ones Helper does. I have got a Twitch account. And I've tried to stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. But it doesn't let me for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a complete nutter techno fuckwit and I haven't got a clue what I'm doing.
They banned Pantouf, if I hear correctly, because he was streaming on Twitch and YouTube.
No, you can stream on both. You can stream on both. It is acceptable, I understand.
No, that's true or not?
No, I don't know. There was a way you could stream on both at the same time because you get crossover. And Wild Ones Helper does it regularly. He streams both at the same time. But there is a way you can do it in OBS, but I've tried to do it and it hasn't worked. So I've sort of got Twitch, but I haven't really used it. I'm preferring to stay on YouTube because... 2
reasons why I hate Twitch more than YouTube.
I don't know much about Twitch.
Names. You can't name if you see in my YouTube, I'm like spicy only. With no underscores or hashtags. If I go to Twitch, I have to add scores and some numbers to add to my name so that I can chat.
I am a
Second thing is coffee chats with girls.
Yeah.
Talk about something I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to ignore them. Third thing is I did not mention is gaming. I don't know how they more people to Twitch more than YouTube.
Well, Twitch was released as a gaming streaming platform, so that's why. But like I said, I mean, it's pros and cons. I've tried to use it, but I just can't get the two to marry up for some reason. So I either stream to Twitch or I stream to YouTube, and YouTube seems to be the more acceptable thing for various reasons. So, but that's not to say I don't like Twitch. I mean, it's just a pain in the ass switching between the two all the time, and you don't get the same notifications. I don't think. I'm not sure. So, but yeah, so YouTube. But as I was saying, YouTube at the moment is having a bit of a hissy fit, and it's actually YouTube. It's nothing else. It's not OBS. It's not my Wi-Fi. It's not the game. It's just purely YouTube.
I
And
hate Twitch for one more reason, because that the fact that you can't go back to the beginning of the stream. You can only make live. You can't go back.
oh,
Why?
really? You can't? I didn't know that. So,
Add it.
but as I said, it's
It
probably.
can
I
be
mean,
very
there's a lot of stuff going down at the moment with some of the fallout that's happening in the States. So, I mean, I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but no doubt it's something to do with that. I just don't know.
Be back. Maybe they have technical difficulty of something.
Possibly.
They'll get it.
Possibly. You just never know. So that's why it's a bit jerky. It's as I said, it's outside of. Unfortunately, it's outside of my control. I have no control over YouTube. What would you say my favourite tank is after the mouse? Yeah, that's a really bloody good question, to be honest with you.
T62A.
Because, well, my tastes, I'll be honest, my tastes have changed recently. So, a lot of what I've been doing recently, as you know, Yusuf, because you've been tuning with me, I've been taking a leaf out of Juicy Tender Steaks book and spamming tanks and just playing the same tank. And I've spammed the T62A a lot. I used to be absolutely dreadful in that tank. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not saying I'm great in it now. I'm not. But I play it a lot better. And that's a thanks to, if Jory's still in the chat, that's a thanks to Jory. I tuned with him one day and he gave me some pointers now to play the damn thing because I'm a nab. And I've been enjoying it since then, to be honest with you. Jory is right. It's probably the easiest tier 10 medium that will track an E100 and track most things. And you do get a lot of damage farming out of it.
It has 2.2 seconds aim time if you equip it correctly.
Well, I've been enjoying it, to be fair. I have been enjoying the T62. But then I've also been enjoying the E50M recently. And that's thanks to
Except I
Inaman.
tell you.
Inaman's not around at the moment, but Immerman and I did a stream one night where we both went out in the E50M and just the E50M. And I know Matthew likes the E50M, I believe.
Well, I like it, but I like the M60 more.
Or the M60. So I'm liking the E50M at the moment.
M60 has better armor play.
I also like.
It has
I'm also
good
liking
for,
the
Are
baby
you
Batchat.
actually retard?
I'm also liking the baby Batchat and the Yusuf.
Wait, is it?
Not Yusuf, and the Leo. I've said the Yusuf because Yusuf has been spamming the Leo recently, and I like the Leo now.
Leo is the best.
I mean, Meadsy loves the, just to put you in the picture.
A good gun, accurate one, and some only turret, I think.
Well, I was just about to say. I mean, Meadsy loves the Leo, by the way, and it's a very difficult tank to play. It's not an easy tank to play, the Leo, but I've been enjoying it a lot more recently. But what would I say my second favourite tank is? I don't know. That's really quite a tricky tank. If I was going to err on the side of caution, I would say the Tiger P is the honest answer.
Oh.
Because I love the Tiger P. I think the Tiger P is a fantastic tank.
It has 200 millimeter frontal armor, which is good, but weak lower plate and cupola.
I just love that tank. I just think it's great. I think it's a great tank.
But it can be ace.
And I have lots of different tanks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Waffle Tractor. I absolutely adore the Waffle Tractor.
That tank is so good. It has
It's-
a choice of 2 guns, 4 guns.
I mean, it's my best win rate
100
tank because I'm a nab. My win rates aren't exactly brilliant, but for the Waffle Tractor, I've got basically almost a 69% win rate in that tank, which isn't great, I know, but for me it's fantastic. And I love that tank. I do like that tank. And I also love the STB1. I think the STB1 is a fantastic tank. I think it's brilliant.
Good. So good with that turret and the gun. And it's like the gun in terms of pen is same like the one.
And I also absolutely love, which is going to be controversial, although if Jory's still here, I'm not looking at Discord at the moment, so I don't know if he is.
Jory's still here.
That it's going to be controversial to most, but not to people like Jory. I love the IS-7. I think it's fantastic.
Oh yes,
IS-7 is good.
I think it's fantastic.
it's amazing.
And I think it's one of the most underestimated tier 10s.
No.
For
Yeah.
randoms, it's better than an IS-4, to be honest with you. Not for late games, but you can go into positions quicker and bully the mediums more. With the IS-4, you can get raped by quick turning tanks like Leos.
I'm telling you,
Fugit,
the
we set a new
IS-7,
world record.
I don't care what
Set a
anybody
new
says,
world
the
record.
IS-7 is one of the most underestimated tanks in tier 10. If you know how to play that tank,
not
you
so
can have
bad.
great fun in it.
Tank is fun, but still for tournaments because ammo wreck.
For tunes.
IS-7, Yusuf,
But
I
not
think.
for tournaments.
No, yeah, IS-7. I think IS-7.
Nah, for tournaments, it can work in some situation, but not as versatile as the IS-4.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen
Try
Jory.
to
I've
hide
seen
that lower
Jory
clip.
take it out in
Right.
tournaments, and he doesn't seem to struggle that much.
Well, like I said,
Sometimes
it can
struggle.
work, but it's not as flexible as the IS-4. Like that's the only thing that makes a lot of tournament team take the IS-4 over the IS-7.
Well, it all depends. I mean, if you're talking quick tours, then it's okay. If you're talking actual proper tours, Twister, then yeah, the IS-4 is going to be taken all the time over the IS-7 for various reasons. But I mean, the thing is, we're not just talking tours here. We're talking about general gameplay, and I think the IS-7 is one of those tanks that people just underestimate. And when I say people, I don't mean the super unicums, the pros, and the seasoned players a lot. I'm talking about the newer players coming through. It's probably because that the IS-4 is more nab friendly.
Easy to play.
I think it is more
It has
user friendly.
And another issue can be the line itself, because the KV4 and the ST1 stock is a pain in the ass to grind. It's not very fun. While the IS3 and the IS is fun, that could be one of the reasons why IS7 spamming is a lot compared to IS4.
I tell you what, if I
ST1 stock is actually horrific.
You reckon? I want to. If I've got it, I'm going to show you. Have I got it still? I don't know if I've. No, I haven't.
It is recommended to play the
Well, the
IS-7.
KV4 is good now, but the not the IS, the ST1 when stock is actually one of the worst stock grinding you can have in the game.
You say that. I've got a video of me playing an ST1 stock.
No, you have the
No.
BL9. You have the
No, it's utterly stock. Completely stock. Utterly stock. And I've got to try and find the video. If I find the video...
Matthew, check the gun barrel. Is it rounded?
Yeah.
Then it's the BL. It's the BL.
You can check, and I'll guarantee you this for a fact. It is.
Are you
stock.
playing this right now?
No, I'm trying to find the video because I only played it recently, and I'm trying to find the video, and I can't see where I put it because I'm a nab. Where did I put that? Maybe it's here. Where? Here we go. ST1. Is that the one? Right. Okay. So I've got to try and work out how to. I've got to try and do this on OBS. So bear with me as I try and find the link. Where's the link gone? Where is it? Because it's not going to be via the game. You'll see it is utterly stock. Okay, completely stock.
If you can do 2K in that tank, like.
Yeah, that's impressive. Seriously.
If you can do 2K in it, like you're impressive, man.
Right. So you are now going to see me rolling out in a stock, purely, utterly stock ST1 very recently, and I'm telling you, it's recent. It's not. It's not being. It wasn't.
Check the gun barrel.
I'm just going to check the gun barrel.
Hang on. Let me sort out the. Because the view, it's the screen's all screwed up because it's via video. It's not via anything else. So the screen's a bit weird. So bear with me while I sort that out.
Okay, that's actually completely stock. Yeah, that's.
It's completely stock.
Yeah.
This is a completely stock tank. Sorry, you're not going to
Wait, I
see.
can't see.
You're not going to
Oh,
see
there it is.
YouTube.
See the new world record, boys.
You're not going to see
That's
YouTube or my YouTube chat or my ugly face at the moment because I'm trying to show you this.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see
Oh,
the
shit.
opponent.
This is actually interesting. I want to see this.
So this is purely stock, okay? And it's I'm telling
Yeah, I
you,
see it.
it's stock turret, stock engine, stock tracks, stock gun. Everything on this tank is bottom of its class, bottom. And I decided, everybody says how notoriously bad this tank is, so I decided, well, I'm going to roll out in it to
Well, it's
see
not
how
so
bad
bad.
it is.
It's a
And
trainer for. It's a tank to train you for the IS4.
yeah,
That's all.
but
What? You cannot pen something with 175mm of pen with standard at tier 9.
Bro,
You're not a medium. You cannot go flank around like a T-54 can. Like, it's a heavy. It's so heavy.
Dude, you don't even have the turret.
no.
The turret sucks. Literally sucks. The turret. Even tier 8 can go through. The stock one.
But this is still a stock game. It's still a stock tank. I don't care what anybody says. So when everybody says to me, it's I'm not saying
by the
it's
way,
guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. And you know, I mean, playing a tank stock is really not easy. Bolt, how you doing?
Okay, there is a T-54 is completely red. Oh god.
But it can be done.
It uses a 122mm gun.
And there's the side of a fucking
117.
bunker. Oh god.
I'm sure no pro player will ever play the tank stock. He will free XP everything.
He will.
Of course you will. XP the gun. The mobility is
Yeah,
bad.
he will.
But
Like, if you want to play the ST1 and research it, like, please, for the love of God, use the experience or go to the IST license.
Some credit for equipment.
but the idea behind this is to show you that you can play tanks stock. It's not easy. It's not easy in the slightest, and sometimes it ain't gonna. But this, by the way, this was the first game, the very first game I played in this tank when I got it on my Asian account a couple of weeks ago. This isn't. I haven't played it a couple of times and then shown you a video. This is the first game I played in it.
These opponent each time I play, please, because the conqueror keeps giving him your side, and then the standard B just don't give a
Oh,
fuck.
it will be Bolt.
Bro, it's Asia.
Oh
No.
god.
Doesn't matter. It's still,
Look at the
it's,
fucking conqueror.
it's still
like,
stock.
Look at that bloody conqueror.
It's still stock. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. It's still a stock ST1. It's
The
still.
enemy managed to dribble around and give you 2k. Oh god, on a stock.
What do you mean
ST1,
2K?
my fucking
You
god.
keep watching,
How
Matthew.
How retarded can you be to get farmed by a stock ST1?
Like a torture for little kids.
You haven't seen anything yet.
That's the side of the
Torture.
shittiest tier 8 heavy and you can barely pen. Fucking hell.
Torture a kid.
Look at you keep watching this damage just clock up.
Oh my fucking god.
Bro,
He actually got
just-
2.6.
Keep watching.
That's actually a 2.6 at least with a stock ST1.
Utterly stock. Utterly.
Now it's
utterly-
3k. Oh god.
12 shots
You are
fired,
luck.
12 hits,
Oh,
12
love
pens.
The Russian tanks more than any other country.
Oh my god.
The Germans. They have germanium.
So there you go. There you go.
Oh wow. Come on, T54 poke,
Then
bitch.
you got the eight.
Stock. That's a stock
This
tank.
is so cursed.
Come on, T54 poke.
about
Yes,
what?
poke sideways. Yes, sure.
2020, the
Come on.
worst version of it. T2021.
No, but there's a problem with the line because you won't be able to play like this every battle. Once you get tier 10, you will end up doing 0.
But there you go.
Literal 0.
There you go. Stock stock ST1. Unlike Droodles, when he says he's going to go out stock, I actually went out stock, fully stock, and it's possible. You can see it's possible to get an ace. 4k damage.
Droodles.
4k damage in an ST1 stock.
How the fuck? So cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to retire from this game from now on.
See, you can't.
So cursed.
Yeah, that's a stock one. Hey, damn it, man.
Oof.
So, Bolt, you got a channel. Come on.
How the fuck did you get a 4K?
This is cursed, and this is why you need to
It's an ace as well. Like fuck me.
It's a torture. Torture for kids.
Why are you trying to kill Matthew? Don't do it.
Tell you. See, so all these people who turn around and say the stock ST1 is actually the worst tank in the game, I disagree.
Why?
Worst tank in the game is the
Wait, no, there's a fucking
prototype.
The PTA. Now the PTA, that I would never go stock in because that is a pain to drive stock.
The stock dog 2.
Yeah.
What?
The
Stock dog 2.
Talk to doesn't have a researchable module. Is premium.
Just think if it had. Think of the video that
absolutely Kathmandu. How to save money on Blitz.
Wait, PTA is not that bad. You at least have the penetration. Like,
not so bad. It has the 01's gun, but less DPM.
I'm telling you, the stock ST1 is not as bad as you think. Mainly because it's got armor. It has got armor, okay? And if you know how to play the ST1, even when it isn't stock, then the stock ST1, the hull armor is still the same armor. It's just the turret that they change. So
yeah, but everybody aims your turret. It's like every noob aims your turret.
Well, this is true. This is true, but the ST1 isn't as much as a nightmare as people think. And it's just so happened. It was just great that you mentioned it, and I just had the replay waiting. It was going to be in a video about stock tanks.
You got so lucky.
What is the best
subscribe to
So again?
Force is the best non-stock. Stock grinding tier 9, which is the best. It's Force, right? Because it only has one gun. Force is the best one.
The mediums are all horrible.
Don't forget, most of the stock tanks are there to break you into the tank, and that's all.
First spend 90.
No, but people like one of the 60%ers don't really want like they want everything fully equipped because stock would just ruin their stats. So if you're going for stats, you'd rather just free XP everything out in the line.
No, that's. Yeah, I mean, if you're a pro player, it's different because you have a different attitude towards things, and your goals are different. Your goal isn't to flex with your win rate. Your goal is to get into a pro team and do the tournaments.
I mean, yeah, of course, yeah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, those type of players, it doesn't bother me if they play stock or not because their skill level's different. Whereas new players coming through, there is a lot of people saying, "Oh, I shouldn't do stock. And I'm one of those who's saying, well, if you're a new player, then you really should play the tank stock to understand how painful it can be, which will make you play the tank better eventually, funnily enough.
I mean, that's what we did.
Well,
that's what
stock.
I did.
It's a tutorial for people who trying to play the tank. It's a tutorial.
I mean, all the pro players have a reroll account, so their first account will be like 44, 45. And they'll play all the tanks stock, and then they understand the pain, and then they make a reroll and the free XP the fuck out of everything.
Well, you say that, but I know a vast majority of the pro players, especially on the EU server, who don't have rerolls, and they're certainly not playing on their reroll accounts.
But but there's stats on everything.
And it's such a
very
pain to
hard.
play on your reroll because you have to grind everything new,
Absolutely.
use cool
Yeah.
skills.
Like
It's
that.
just
That's
better
the
to play on
bullshit
your
part.
normal account.
I mean,
That's
And
why I don't want
rerolls
to do a
get into
reroll.
pro clans. Like I have a friend. Okay, there's another friend of his. He's a reroll and he joined Mercy.
Seven Skoiki. Hi, how you doing? Yeah,
I
but
mean that's how I also got into the pro clans. I just had to
Why-
make a reroll.
well, you'd be surprised because a lot of the pro clans
Hey,
on.
it's your
I mean, I
turn.
don't know about other servers, but on EU, a lot of the pro clans won't accept rerolls unless they've got over 5,000 battles.
The
No,
fact that
except
Wargaming
war.
didn't add any tier 10 to 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 10
Hi,
million,
Boris
tier
Yat.
9 millions.
Yeah, I mean,
Brilliant.
you know, I mean, it's a double-edged sword rerolls, because you know some rerolls are. I mean, I've got obviously my Asian account is a reroll, and my NA account is a reroll, only because I need to play on those servers for various reasons related to YouTube and stuff. But you know, I'm not under any illusion. My main account is a true reflection of my skill. My rerolls are not a true reflection of my skill. And the reason why it's not a true reflection of the skill is because when you reroll, you go back to the start. And when you go back to the start, you go back to playing against bots, etc., etc.,
The
etc.
stats don't make players. Sometimes the players, the skills that make the players good ones.
Yeah, so with my 68% on my NA account and Asia account, does that mean I'm a super unicum when my EU account is only 53 coming up to 54%? Well, no, because my EU account, my main account, is a truer reflection of my skill level. Because I'm playing against people with the same kind of experience as me, etc., etc. Whereas on the rerolls, I'm not. I'm playing with people who are newer to the game a vast majority of the time, so they don't have the skills that I've built up and acquired on my main account, because I've been playing since 2014. So whilst it's lovely to be super duper unicum on my NA account, I'm not a super duper unicum. I'm just an average player, and my EU account is my true reflection. Simple as that.
You know, being a good player better than being a pro player and a super unicum player. Fact. The friendly guy, a good player, having fun in the game. Three things that a good player can
Well,
have.
that's all it should be.
in
Just
this
like I
game.
said earlier, it's just about, you know, it's just about having fun. I mean, I don't do YouTube, but the videos I do on YouTube are not aimed at the pro players. There's nothing I can tell a pro player. Not a thing. Nothing at all. There's no point any pro player realistically watching my video other than to criticize it. Because, I mean, I've got Jory in the chat. There's no way I can tell Jory how to play an FV4202. Yeah, I've just done a video on an FV4202. And if anything, he can tell me how to play the bloody tank. But my YouTube channel is not designed for the pro players. It's my YouTube channel, and I've said this in the write-up from the beginning. It is for those average players or learning the game or wanting to improve. Not necessarily those with the skills to be
I
pros.
still like to watch the videos though.
That's
Yeah.
good. Nice.
Especially the historical ones.
Now, on the screen now, I've just played a replay from Bolt. And on the screen now is he lost. It's a heartbreaker. He did 7,099 damage in an E5. And he only got a first class. I mean, some of those shots, man. But apparently,
It happens.
in fairness to Bolt,
It happens.
in fairness to Bolt,
It happens a lot.
yeah, but in fairness to Bolt, he hasn't been playing on touch that long, and that's one of his touch games. So, what can I say about that? I wish I could roll out and do that much damage on PC, because I can't. Shit, man, I can't even do that on touch.
Wait,
That's a great game,
I have
though.
a question.
Yeah.
On your historical video about the E series, why didn't you mention Jagdpanzer E100?
Didn't exist.
The Yak
It's not
Panzer
part.
wasn't
It's not part. It's not
copy.
part of the E series.
An idea to the E100. If the E100 was mass produced, that Jaguar would have come. Did not.
No, it's not part of the series. It's in the game, and a lot of people talk about it, but it's actually not part of the series.
There was two designs for the Jaguar: frontal fighting compartment and the rear fighting compartment. The one we have is in Vortex Blitz. Rear compartment.
They need front compartment one.
Yeah, so
Well,
no,
I think the design considered was the front one, but the back one is just like a fictional thing. Well, not fictional.
Totally
They
agree,
have
Team
only a
Trouble.
sketch of the drawing.
you see,
The German
that's
defense is
why I
the
didn't.
front,
That's why I didn't include it.
fighting compartment.
There are only the reason I included the E50M, which is again another bullshit tank in real life. It didn't exist. Is because the E50 existed, whereas the Jaegeru is a completely made up tank, completely, because they hadn't even finished the E100. Now, just to put in the picture the way the Germans operated, when tanks were destroyed, like Tigers in Panzer IVs, in Panzer IIIs, instead of scrapping them, generally it was the turrets that were blown off. Okay, so instead of scrapping the tank because the running gear and the hulls were generally still intact, they would convert them into tank destroyers, and that's why you have a lot of these tank destroyers. Like the Stug 3 is basically Panzer IIIs.
The most produced tank.
Yeah,
The Stug 3.
yeah, the Stug 3 was the most produced German tank. The Jagdpanzer 4,
Armored fighting fleet.
the Jagdpanzer 4 were basically Panzer 4s that were just redone. The Jagdpanther is destroyed Panthers. They didn't build them at the same time as the Panther. When the Panthers broke down or got wrecked, they would bring the shattered remains back and turn them into Jagdpanthers. And then the Hunting Tiger, was one of the only ones that didn't change, because they decided that because they didn't have enough resources, they couldn't build any more Tiger 2s, basically, because they never had the resources, namely things like ball bearings for the turrets. So that's why that one came about on the fixed turret. But if you notice, there is absolutely no Tiger 1 tank destroyer. None. There's no
There's the
Tiger 1.
Not,
There's the Sturmtiger.
That's not a tank destroyer.
No, it's like a bunker buster.
It's a bunker buster. It's not a tank destroyer. Not a single Tiger was converted into a tank destroyer. Tiger 1, that is. You had, I think there were 9 Stern Tigers, and they were just brought in as bunker busters because they couldn't improve the gun at the time to justify a tank destroying Tiger. Simple as that. So what they did do is the Ferdinand Porsche Tiger, the Tiger P, they're all converted into Ferdinands, which is the only Tiger 1 chassis that was ever converted into a Tiger variant of the tank destroyer. But the Tiger P is not the same as the Tiger 1, to be fair. They're different animals. They have different engines, different running gear, lots of different things. And the Ferdinand...
The hull is completely different.
It is. The Ferdinand was an absolute disaster. So it was a disaster at Kursk. But they retooled it and sent it out as the Elephant, which was a lot better. And they saw action in Italy, in Anzio. So, which is why there's an Elephant in America and a Ferdinand in Kubinka, oddly enough. So, but yeah, I mean, so it's unrealistic to think that a Jaegeru, the JP E100, would have actually made it, because I don't think it would, to be fair. I think we just played that replay. I don't think it would have made it, because they didn't even finish the E100. So
there's an RT design of the E100 that didn't made it.
I think this is this one we haven't played. So yeah, I mean, but this is one of the things with the Germans.
even come
You know what? One tank they should bring into the game, and I'm really surprised that they haven't, is the Tiger Mouse.
Oh yeah,
the
that thing
Tiger Mouse?
actually.
Well, the Tiger Mouse is the official precursor to the E100. And it basically looks like an E100, but bigger. Because the Tiger
Isn't
Mouse...
it called the Motion as well? No, actually.
The Motion. The Motion led to the Tiger Mouse. And the Tiger Mouse is basically... It looks exactly the same as an E100. But the
It is an
E100...
E100.
No,
No, it's not an E100.
It's not an
different
E100.
towards the E100.
Yeah, it is different.
Google
Firstly, the Tiger Mouse is 130 tons, which is 30 tons bigger, heavier than an E100. I mean, this thing was colossal. And it got dropped. And by all intents and purposes, the Tiger Mouse was actually better than the mouse. And the Tiger Mouse was designed and produced. It was never actually made into the production, but it was designed by Krupp, whereas the mouse was done by Porsche. And they dropped, when Porsche got the contract to do the mouse, Krupp dropped the Tiger Mouse. And then when the E series came along, Adler, another company, got the project to do the E100. And all they did was retool and redesign the Tiger Mouse and made it smaller. That's why it's called an E100. And so they dropped 30 tons from the thing. Yeah, they dropped 30 tons from the Tiger Mouse. So they should get the Tiger Mouse into the game, I think.
Wait,
Yes,
is
they
the
should.
mouse like combination of E100 and mouse?
To an extent, yeah. It looks like an E100, but just bigger. Just a bigger tank.
Yes, it's bigger.
Because maybe those.
And it has more armor.
The British scrapped it in 1950s.
There's more armor on a Tiger Mouse. It just looks mean. But can you imagine that? I mean, they can't bring it into the game. How can you bring into the game a tank that is bigger and better than both the mouse and the E100 that would sit at tier 9? It can't be done.
Maybe reverse it.
How could you do that? You know.
E100 at tier 9 and the Tiger Mouse at tier 10.
Yeah, but can you imagine that? Because obviously the Tiger Mouse came before the E100. It would be fantastic. You could
Because
do
the
it.
E100 was a late war.
It'd be fantastic.
Or they can, like,
Nobody would grind to the E100. They'd all stop at the Tiger Mouse.
no,
The E100 had 4 turrets. And a Henschel, an Adler, and a Krupp, and a mouse turret.
No, it didn't. It didn't have a mouse turret because the mouse turret weighs 50 tons, and the E100 hull would have buckled under the weight. I mean, the E100 overall weighed 100 tons, couldn't exceed it. Hence the reason it was called the E100. The mouse turret, which was designed by Krupp, weighed 50 tons. It was never going to be put onto the E100. Adler didn't design any turrets. They only designed running gear and hulls, whereas Krupp designed everything. So when the E100 came around, Adler were designing the engine. Well, they didn't want to design the engine. They were going to use a Maybach, but they were designing the running gear and the hull based on the Tiger Mouse, which in turn was based on the Tiger 1, by the way. And Krupp were tasked with designing the turret. And the turret you get in the game is basically the turret that they put on all the renditions of the E100, which is actually the Mouse 2 turret. That was the upgraded turret. That was the upgrade.
The mouse has the mouse turret, which is historically good.
No, the E100 has the Mouse 2 turret. The Mouse has the Mouse turret. They're two different turrets. Completely different. Completely different. And if you look at them very closely, the E100 turret is smaller, a lot smaller, and it has more slope than the
Less
mouse
armor.
and less armor than the mouse turret. But and it's a lot of people say this because if you have a look on things like Wikipedia, etc., a lot of people turn around and say that the mouse is actually a progression from the E100. It's not, or the E100 was a progression from the mouse. They're not. They're two completely different tanks. And as I said in the video I did yesterday, the E series of tanks were all meant to be standardized. So if you look at a T10 and a T25, and then the E50, and then the E75, they've all got the same tracks and the same road wheels and the same hull, just bigger. So the E10 I think has 4 wheels, the E25 has 5 wheels, and then the E50 has 6 wheels, the E75 has 8 wheels or something along those lines. But they're the same wheels. It's the same wheels, the same tracks. And if you look really closely, they all look like the Tiger 2 hull. Because that's what they're based on the Panther 2 Tiger 2. And then the E100, oddly enough, has exactly the same road wheels and exactly the same tracks, exactly the same running gear.
Sorry, continue, Fugit.
So the E100, whereas the mouse had a really weird track system and a really weird running gear, really strange road wheels. Completely, Porsche was strange like this. They did the same with the Ferdinand, where in the Tiger P, where they had this really strange track running gear and suspension system, which is why the Tiger P never went into production, because it was too complex. It kept breaking down. Even though it was a superior tank, mechanically it was completely impossible to repair, and to produce it was too complex. So that's why they didn't run with it. That's why they went with Henschel's Tiger 1. So the E100 and the mouse are completely different. And the turrets, what we get in the game, and don't forget, I've seen the mouse in real life. The pictures you see of the mouse on my recent video are pictures I took at Kubinka. And the mouse turret is absolutely massive. Really massive. And
88 tons. Of course it's massive.
Exactly.
Enormous.
Now the E100's turret was meant to be a redesign of the mouse turret because it was too big.
Make a better version of the mouse.
So Krupp did the blueprints to redesign it, but it was never manufactured. It was never made. And a lot of people think that would have been the turret stuck onto the E100. But nobody will ever know because the E100 never finished production. So.
The hull was completed. The tracks, the road wheels.
They're the same. Yeah, but look at the mouse road wheels. The mouse road wheels in running gear is unbelievably complex. Unbelievably complex.
Yeah, it's completely different towards the E100's running gear.
Completely different. And it's it was really complex. The mouse running gear is really, really complex. And one of the problems was if it ever broke, if it ever shot the tracks, it would be almost impossible to repair it in the battle. Whereas an E100 would have been a lot easier, even though it was very heavy. But it's the same with a lot of these things. If you the mouse would never worked in real life. It would never have worked. It was too heavy.
The engine and the fuel it will need. The track that's so big.
No, it's so slow. It's so big. It's just a big fat target for the
bridges
will
break.
Yeah, I mean it was 188 tons, and it wouldn't have survived most things.
It would just attract close air bombing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the E line was different.
But
the
I'd
E10 was a replacement for the Hetzer. The E25 was a replacement for the Yak Panzer IV, E50 for the Panther, and E75 for the Tiger 2.
Yeah, basically.
There was no
they were replacements.
The E75 is a replacement for every heavy tanks that they were producing.
Yeah.
So basically the Tiger 1 and the Tiger 2.
I mean Spicy is 99% correct there. I mean the T10 was meant to be just a Hetzer, basically, just replace the Hetzer. The T25 was meant to replace all the mediums in the line
the same
that were
components.
Panzer 3 and Panzer 4,
Maintenance and production.
not just the Ag Panzer 4. The people think it only was going to replace the Ag Panzer 4 because they only designed the TD version, but there were plans to change the Panzer 4 and the Panzer 3, which would have been turreted. The E50 was a replacement to the Panther 2 because the Panther 2 was designed in 1943 and it was going to be based along the lines of the Tiger 2. So that was meant to be just a replacement for the Panther and Panther 2. And then all heavy tanks were going to be E75. And then they came up with the super heavy E100. But another thing that a lot of people misunderstand is the Schmautern turrets. So in the game, all the E series, apart from the E100 and obviously the E25, but the E50, the E50M, and the E75 have a Schmautern turret, yeah? Same as the Panther 2.
Not the E75.
No, it does. It does. It does.
E75 is like that Tiger turret, but little bit
No,
thicker
it's
and
it's
bigger.
a Tiger 2 turret, but thicker.
But if you have a look at it, no Tiger 2 had the little like eyeballs on the side. That was a Schmautern thing.
It's a rangefinder.
Correct.
No,
it's
it's
infrared.
rangefinder.
It's infrared rangefinder actually.
Yeah.
And
Correct, yes.
and the closest we have in the game to how a Schmautern would have looked in real life is the Panzer IV Schmautern.
The Panther as well, fully upgraded. If you
Wow.
look at it.
Wow. This is the big debate because they don't think it would have fitted the Panther because they think the Schmautern would have been used on the Panzer Alf F, which was the last designed Panther to carry the 88mm gun, but they don't know if it would have been fitted to the Panther 2. And a lot of people are now saying that maybe they wouldn't have been fitted to the Panther 2, that maybe the Panther 2 would have had a turret similar to the Tiger 2. But nobody really knows.
Take a look in War Thunder, Panther 2. It is not that real look.
Yeah.
The Panther 2 had different.
Well, nobody really knows. This is the thing. No, because we have a Panther 2 in real life. It sits at Fort Knox in America.
Yeah.
But it has a Panther G turret.
Panther G turret.
Yeah,
Correct.
Panther G turret with a chin.
Yeah, it is. It's got the shock trap turret, which is the Panther G. Now, the reason they did that is because what they did, they found this hull, but it had no turret near it, so they just thought, well, it's a Panther, so we'll stick a turret on the top to make it look complete. And then the British found a load of Schmautern turrets, and I say a load, it's about 4, roughly about 4 or 5. But they were found nowhere near the Panther production line. They were found in a factory that was upgrading Panzer IVs, funnily enough. So nobody really knows.
That there was a good idea for the Panther 2 to be existed.
Mm-hmm.
Was later beaten by the Panther.
What was that?
The Panther 1 had a problem in its in the tank. I don't know what it is. It was a thing that can be repaired by the crews, but if that thing that it couldn't be repaired, the Panther 2 would have existed.
What?
Well, the way I don't forget the Panther, like most German tanks, went through a series of upgrades. So the very first Panthers were Panther Alf A, and these were rushed into production. They were absolutely rushed into production to be ready for
Wait,
Kursk.
isn't it the D first that came out and then the A?
Probably, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because I remember,
I
remember with the Panther, it's kind of a weird thing. Like the D came out before the A. The A is actually the improved version of the D model.
No, it's the prototype first. Then yes, the D version came.
I think it
Because
was
the A I'm pretty sure the A came later than the D. Than
No, it's not.
yeah.
It was Al's D
Came in
first, then
August,
A, then G. It
1943.
didn't have the same. Yeah,
yeah.
it didn't have the same. I'm just looking in my little book. But they were rushed into production to be ready for Kursk, and whilst the Panther was a revolutionary tank, because they were rushed through production, they actually failed at Kursk, and they were dreadful. They were beset by mechanical failures left, right, and centre, and they really weren't reliable. So they had to improve it, and they improved it with the Panther A, which was much better, much better. It had a better turret. It had a better turret. It had better running gear, and everything was much better about it. In fact, the engine was more reliable than it was in the D. And then they changed it again for the G, because the G was just a much better version. It had the shot trap. It had a better engine. It was a much better tank. And then the last one was going to be the F, which was basically. Yeah, it may have been an improved version, but also it was a cost reduction version. And in between all this, they designed a Panther II, which they then dumped immediately in 1943 for whatever reason. And then they transferred it in 1944 to the E50 project. Yeah. So, but the Panzer F. The Panther F is what we have in the game called the Panther 88. Because the F was meant to have the 88mm gun.
That project.
Wait, so it's not the Panther 2 that has the 88 then?
No.
I thought the Schmaltern, like the objective of the Schmaltern is like to increase the armor protection and use a bigger gun like the L100.
The Panther 2's plans were meant to be the 7.5cm CAC 42 L70 gun, funnily enough.
Yes.
Not the 8843 L71 as used on the Tiger.
Schmaltern.
Yeah.
Schmaltern.
Yes. The turret that was supposed to be for the Panther F, ISFF.
Now, the Panther F was meant to have an upgraded version of the 88, and it was meant to be the same one as the Tiger 2. Sorry, not upgraded, same one. The CAC 43 L71, and that would have fitted apparently in a Schmaltern turret.
Schmaltern turret still exists in Bovington. It is a good thing.
Yeah, there is one in Bovington, ripped apart, but there is one there. And that's what they would have. They decided that it would have fit. The 88 would have fit into the Schmaltern turret. So who knows? But the E75 could never have a Schmaltern turret because they planned to stick the 100.
Will make it like an E50.
Well, they planned to stick the L100 gun into that, which is 100mm long. It's massive, and it was too big.
Yeah, it's really big.
75.
And they also wanted to put in there the 10.5cm gun into the E75, which is even bigger.
Yes.
And it would never fit into a Schmaltern turret because Schmaltern means narrow in German. It literally means narrow turret.
That the Tiger 2 had variants for different things. Had the SLA 16 variant.
Yeah.
It was
So there would have been, I mean, this is one of the things that I highlighted in the video that I did yesterday is that, unlike the Soviets, the Germans had so many different competing companies, all doing different things.
Yeah, you have Daimler-Benz, Henschel, Porsche, and Adler. Well, it's in also Porsche.
Yeah, I mean, they had so many different competing, and
Sure, they made good designs. Like the Tiger P, it did not go well.
No, a lot of German tanks weren't that great. But they were just made to think they are great. But somebody wrote the other day that the Tiger 2s weren't that great, and they were destroyed by a lot of firepower. They weren't actually. They were destroyed mainly by Allied aircraft. Funnily enough, not by tanks.
An enemy to the Panther, the VK30.01D. It's like the T-34, but different.
Yeah, and it's like in a video. I mean, somebody mentioned the IS-7 video by Droodles the other day, where he talks about the IS-3 making an appearance in World War II. The IS-3 did not see any action in World War II.
It's not only in the parade. It came.
It came in the parade.
The VK. About the VK, sorry to interrupt, but for the VK variants of the tanks, those are the prototype of the tanks.
Correct, because VK,
so
the VK in German is basically the prefix for an experimental tank.
Yeah.
Right.
So the VK30 is actually the prototype for the Panther. So the VK30 is competing competing design for the Panther made by the show, if I remember correctly, or Daimler.
Daimler did the Panther.
Daimler Benz, yeah.
It existed. Only one prototype was produced and did not survive the war.
There's a lot of them like that.
No,
I mean,
not.
the VK36 is the same. I mean, I go into the history, and one of them, I think, on the Tigers, on the Tiger history, the video that I did, I go into detail on the VKs, and all the VKs you see in the game existed in one form or another, but they're prototypes. They're all prototypes.
Yeah.
Leading to a different tank. So, so there are one-offs. A lot of them were just the prototypes that they increased upon and increased upon and increased upon, and then these were never the production tanks. These were just the prototypes that led to the production tank. And it's the same with, as I said, all right, sorry, I didn't see that, Yusuf. See you later, mate. The IS-3 never saw action in World War II. Now, you have to remember, in Russia, World War II is not called World War II. It's called the Great Patriotic War. And according to the Russians, 1941, June 1941 till May 1945 is the period for the Great Patriotic War. The war in Asia is not considered as part of the same war. So the war against Japan in Russia is not part of the same war. It's completely different. The Great Patriotic War is mainly against the Germans. And IS-3s were produced in time for World War II in Europe, but by the time they got them to the unit that was going to use them, the war had finished. And they were first seen in the Victory Parade in Berlin. Now, some say that they were used in Manchuria against the Japanese, but that cannot be true because the unit that had them never went to Manchuria. So they couldn't have fought there. And as far as I know, the first and possibly only time IS-3s were ever used was in the Hungarian uprising in 1953. And there's a very famous picture of an IS-3 in Budapest without its turret, blown to bits. So, but the IS-7 is not based on the IS-3. Hence the reason why it's called IS-7. It comes after the IS-6, but came after the IS-5. The IS-5 failed, was a failure. The IS-6 was meant to improve on the IS-5, but that too was a failure, which what led them to the IS-7. The IS-7 is not based on the IS-3. Not even close. So
that the IS-3 was there. It had a modernized IS-3M. It was fitted with additional.
Yeah, it was. Well, the IS-3M was the one that was the Cold War version of the tank. So, and that was the one that was mainly exported overseas, and the one that mainly saw action.
IS-4 was made to from 238 to 250, something like that.
Yeah.
The fact that there is only one surviving tank.
Yeah, and I've seen it in Kubinka. I've seen the IS-7. I've seen the IS-4. They're all in Kubinka.
How did they all lost?
They're all in Kubinka.
Is there conflict? No.
Yeah, they're all in Kubinka, and it's an interesting museum to go and see. Trust me, Kubinka. It's fantastic. But yeah, so a lot of what you see in the game, some of it existed in one shape or another. A lot of it, especially when you start getting to tier 10, is paper. There are a few exceptions. For example, the Mark 6 really did exist. It's the precursors of the Chieftain MBT, but that is truly a Cold War tank. I mean, let's have a look at tier 10 and see what we've got in tier 10.
Well, the STB-1 is the prototype of the Type 74, which is a real tank.
Yeah, so the Mouse was a prototype. The E100 was never really finished. The T22 was a prototype that never got off the ground. The IS-4 was a prototype. There were a couple built.
The is only the hull, without the track or the engine or a gun. Only the turret and the hull.
The 215B is completely made up. It never existed.
Yep. Well, it existed as the 183.
Yeah, but the one we got in the game, the 215B, is a complete fallacy. It didn't exist. The AMX-50B was a paper project. It would have, but they decided not to go through with it. The Kranwagen is actually the Emil, by the way. And again, it was based on the AMX. It's based on the AMX, but it never really entered production. The Sheridan existed, but not with... It existed, but it was never really used until Vietnam. The 48 Patton definitely existed. One of America's mainstays, saw a lot of action in Vietnam. The M60 also existed, funnily enough. It's a real tank. T57 Heavy is a paper project. T95 is a paper project. E4 is a paper project. E3 is a paper project. 50M is a complete fallacy, completely made up.
Same as Fugit, but with extra track.
Leopard 1 is a real project. The VK70. Yeah. The VK72 was a paper project. VK90, I don't know much about. I'm still looking into that one. Jaegeru was a complete fallacy. Grill was a paper project. Object 40 is the prototype to the T62A, which really did exist. It's a Cold War tank.
I think 2 were made and 1 is still in Kubinka, which is a good sign.
Yeah, it's a prototype. The 140 is the prototype to the T62.
Even the Object 430.
And then the IS-7, it was only a couple of them were made, and one of them still exists. 263, the 263 is based on the IS-7 chassis, by the way, and one does exist apparently in Kubinka, although I couldn't find it. 268 is an IS-7 chassis as well.
No, it's an IS-8, isn't it?
Yeah, IS-8. I mean, yeah, and that I think one of those exists. I think one of those exists in Kubinka. I can't remember. I've got the pictures somewhere.
Yeah, there is one in Kubinka.
Yeah, I've got the pictures of them somewhere.
Object 227?
Vickers Light didn't exist. A variant of it did, but it never existed. The FV4202 does exist. It's the precursor to the Chieftain tank.
Yes, as funny as it sounds.
Yeah, and the Chieftain Mark 6 does exist. It was one of Britain's main battle tanks.
The variant.
This variant Mark 6 came out in 1970 something. Super Conqueror didn't exist. The Conqueror did, but the Super Conqueror didn't.
Yes.
So
it's basically a fantasy adding more armors.
The FV4005 was a prototype. It did exist, and there's one in Bovington. The Badger didn't exist as such. It was a paper project. And the 183 was also a paper project. The STB-1, I'm still researching that one. I don't know much about it.
STB-1 is the prototype version of the Type 74.
That's what I got to so far, but I'm not sure yet. Ho-Ri never existed, as far as I'm aware.
Nope.
The 121B, well, it's basically a T6. It's basically an Object 140. The 121 is basically the same. It's basically based on the T62. Well, actually, these are based on the T55, funnily enough. The WZ is probably true. You never know. It's probably reversed engineered IS-4 or IS-8. I don't know.
No, it's based on the T55, but longer.
Yeah.
Elongated and has more armor.
And then you got the WZ113G. I don't know. The Batchat was
it's a fake tank. Like the entire line of TD for the Chinese TD are completely fake.
That's what I thought. The Batchat, well, this was a paper project as well. I mean, AMX were doing a lot of these type of tanks, but it's true that a lot of the turrets did look like this, and you know, this was the way the French were going. AMX 30B, I'm still looking into that one. I personally, I think it's a paper project and didn't exist.
30B, it's actually a real tank, actually, Fugit. It's made into service.
Who made? Two were made, an AMX 50 and then AMX 50B. The 50B was.
Wait, no, 50.
Yeah, 50B.
I thought it was the 30B.
No, the 50B was real, but not the 30B.
No. The 30B is correct, actually. The 30B is a real tank.
Well, the AMX 30. See, this is where I get confused. Yeah. The AMX 30 is a real tank from 1965 all the way up until 2011, but not the 30B. I can't find anything on this 30B. Is the thing. I can find the 50. There's no tank as the 50B. There's a AMX 50, and you know the Bs are added. I don't know why the Bs are added, but it is based on the AMX 30, which is a real tank. I just don't know anything about this 30B. Is the thing. So.
Oh, there is an AMX 50.
There is an AMX 50, yeah.
There is.
There's definitely an AMX 50.
Yeah.
Oh no! Apparently the 30B did exist.
The production version.
It's the production version.
Yes,
it's
and the 30A is the prototype.
Yeah. Hang on.
MX 30.
No, there are differences. There are differences.
Well, let me Wikipedia it.
Because the AMX 30 is the main tank. I know that part.
Production version of the.
Based on the B is the main version.
Is the production.
Yeah. There's
and the A is the prototype.
Because you have then the AMX 30R, the AMX C, the AMX 30D, the AMX 30B2. They're all different ones. And the 30B is the initial run. The production version of the 30B is basically the smallest one.
Yes.
It's the smallest one. And then they changed those to AMX 30B2s, which is the standard tank. That's the standard tank. And then that was upgraded again to the AMX 30C. And then the AMX 30R. So they had loads of different variations of it. And the 30B is the initial production version. When it first came out in 1965, which is why we have that in the game, because the main one, the 30B2, was much later. I mean, much later. So that's an interesting one. I don't know much about the AMX M4, to be honest with you.
M4 and the ARL is basically the French attempt to copy the Tiger 2.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about it. It is when it starts getting into the French type tanks, I don't know much about them. The Progetto again is another. I don't know much about Italian and French. I know more about British, Russian, and German tanks.
No, the Progetto is a made-up tank, paper at best, because the Italian design up to the P43, which is a real tank. Well, a real design, but from there on, there's only wargaming's fantasy of the design.
I don't. Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, I know about German, Russian, and British tanks. Don't know much about these other tanks. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. And I have to research a lot about the other ones when I'm doing them.
Fugit, hear this. First, the ARL 44 was an interim tank. It is a replacement. The AMX 50 was cancelled in the mid-1950s
Correct.
in favor of adopting M47.
Yeah, the AMX 50 was. But the AMX 50 would have been like what the AMX 50B is like, in fairness. It would have been similar.
50B was
hey Sam, hey Biscuit.
Increased the engine power. It should have gone 65 kilometers an hour.
But as I was saying to somebody, as I was saying to Irma Bex yesterday in the CC Discord, as much as that a lot of these tanks are made up and they're fake and they don't exist, to be honest with you, Wargaming have done a really, really good job with the tech trees. Because if you would have stuck it to real life, we wouldn't have a tier 10 as such, number one. Number two, can you imagine a tech tree where the Hetzer sits at tier 8? Can you imagine that? Because that's where it would sit.
Yeah, because it's a late war tank actually.
Yeah. And then can you imagine this, that you drop the Ferdinand from tier 8 and you stick it down a tier?
More like tier 6, I would say.
Well, the Ferdinand came on the back of the Tiger P. So
Yeah,
it should, so it should sit
Kind of the same time as the Tiger. I
P.
guess.
So it should sit in the same tech tree, like the Panther and the Panther and the Jagdpanther sit together. So the Ferdinand and the Tiger P should sit in the same tech tree. Can you imagine that? I mean, the game would be a disaster. I mean, can you imagine rolling out a Hetzer against IS-3s? Can you imagine that?
Well, the IS3 would be tier 10, I would guess, if you want to base it on that.
Well, would it? Because the IS-3 in real life would have eventually faced the it would have faced the Tiger 2, so it probably would have sat in the same tech tree, tier 8, because Tiger 2 is tier 8.
Yeah, but the Tiger 2 came out like 3 years earlier, or 2 actually.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder. I mean, I think they've done well. I mean, you had no they had no choice but to drop the Hetzer all the way down the tiers, because it would never have coped. And the Dicker Max, the Dicker Max and the Nashorn should be up tiers as well. Funnily enough.
Oh yeah, those two things as well. Yeah.
Okay, it would be a disaster. I mean, nobody would be able to play the bloody things. It would be awful.
The Churchill gun carrier existed in 100 units made.
Yes, it did. The gun carrier definitely existed.
Yep.
The picture only in Bovington.
Yeah, there is one in Bovington. So it would have existed. Give me my cigarettes, please.
The Action 10. That tank is a fake.
Of course it is.
The Canaver was never exist. The Canaver was never. Action 10 turret was not good for the Canaver.
No, I mean there's a lot of tanks.
Yes, for the Centurion tank, yes.
But I mean, I think when you look at it from a logical viewpoint, I think Wargaming don't do such a bad job with content. And we can all sit here and moan about the likes of the Smasher and the Dracula, but you know, we get a lot of tanks in this game, a lot of variation, and I think they've got the tech tree just about right to an extent, because it could be a lot worse. We could have, like I said, the Hetzer at tier 8. That would be fantastic. How much abuse, how much toxicity would that cause, eh?
Well, to be fair, the Hetzer mainly faces against T-34 and
this is true. This is true. But it would have been interesting to have it like that. I mean, I think it's great in that respect. But that's why it goes to show it's not a tank simulator. Remember that. It's not a tank sim. And a lot of people think it is, and it's not. Can't be, under any circumstances, be a tank sim. For those reasons.
PC was became very historical, accurate. They added they removed the 4202 was moved to tier 8, while the Action 10 was brought to tier 10. You get Centurion 1, then Centurion 7, then the Action 10. That made two blades, it would be a big mistake. Maybe a good idea.
Yeah, well, so you know, all these things. I think when you look at, we can all sit here and say, "Oh, this is crap and that's crap," but when you break it all the way down, we actually, the game itself isn't as bad as people think. It isn't as bad as people think. Anyway,
the game did some things bad that we hated, but not all of it. Not all of the things that we hated. For example, I made many friends in this game more than any other game. In real life.
absolutely. And anyway, and on that note, we've been streaming now for a few hours. How long?
4 hours, 21 minutes.
3 hours. Oof.
3 almost.
Oof. So, where is it? Outrageous. So one of my videos has been blocked in some in some territories I don't want them to be blocked. Do you want to know the territories that one of my videos has been blocked in?
US and Germany?
North Korea, Cuba, Iran, and Syria. They blocked.
Of course, it's not North Korea. Why didn't I think of that?
They blocked me. They blocked my video in North Korea, Cuba, Iran, and Syria. Brilliant. I think that's
Like
brilliant.
North Korea, I can guess why they did it, but Iran and Syria, Iraq or Iran.
Iran and Syria, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know. Crazy,
What?
eh? I know. Outrageous, man. What to do, eh? I have to go away and reconsider my life now that my video is blocked in Cuba, North Korea, Iran, and Syria. Brilliant.
You would think at this point Cuba has more things to worry about rather than some YouTube videos that some bloke made.
Absolutely at peace. Can you imagine that? I know, big loss those countries. Anyway, and with that, we've been streaming for 3 hours, so I'm going to go now because I might have to stream later on EU. I don't know. So, guys, again, thank you for jumping in. We had a different chat. It was always good, as per usual. Thank you on YouTube for dropping by, as usual. It's been great fun. And all I can say is enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And I'll see you all again pretty soon. Until then, have a good one. Bye for now.
Be safe.